Oh shit, here we go. Welcome to Chat, Grapple and Cheap Pops and another wonderful special edition. This time we're calling it Shooting with Bishop because let's face it, you will have seen this a few times on Twitter. I call this man the most objective voice in all of wrestling, and I completely include Jim Cornette in all of that. So take from that what you will. No agendas. I'm pretty sure he's not being paid by any company to talk the way he talks. No correction just yet. I'm quite happy with that. When I said earlier as well on Twitter, the best of the best in wrestling reviews on the weekly review, all of that from the Terrible Wrestling Takes podcast. And you can check it in his background if you're watching this on YouTube. Bishop, welcome.
Thank you. It's my honor to be here and to hear those words. It's odd because now we got to put on the professional face, right? We chatted for a little bit beforehand and we talk online all the time, but I mean, it does mean a lot when your peers recognize the effort you put in as, they're grateful for it. So I appreciate all your kind words as always, JB. I mean, you've been super supportive. No offense, Chris. He stays up later than you do. You know what I mean?
He does. No, he does. Honestly, mate. But to be fair, I big you up all day long on the podcast.
No, I know,
as well,
dude.
man.
I know, dude. I was fucking crying at the end of last episode. Bishop, I'm sure you're listening to this, but we're not going to train on you. I'm like, bro, it's like, oh.
we love you, but we're not going to run the train on you.
No, absolutely. No, I absolutely. To get back to it. No, I'm not paid by anyone. I come out here. I try to be as objective as possible. I was at the bowling alley today with the family and some guy saw my Alexa Bliss shirt and he's like, "Hey, you watch AEW too?" And I'm like, "Oh, here goes this conversation." And I told him, like, "Look, they do awesome stuff." He's like, "Yeah, but that Judas thing was awesome, wasn't it?" I said, "No, because they told the fans for a week on Twitter, here's the lyrics." Like, be objective, but you should hold everything accountable because as voices for a point of view, right? And no offense to anyone else that does a review show. If you go, Nikki Cross or Nikki Ash beat Charlotte at the end of an Iron Man match and it was, a 1-2-3, she jumps into the stands. Well, what else about it? Is there anything else about it? What objectively can you say about it to hold what you saw accountable? The ins, the outs, the stuff you like, don't like. And I don't hear a lot of that. So I'm glad that you guys appreciate it, especially the way you guys shout me out on your show. I mean, shit, you're 36th in the UK. I maxed out at 150. So I gotta get my ratings up. So I'm not just here for you guys. I'm here for me too. But no, I honestly do. I love the support so much. I absolutely do. I am Bishop from the Terrible Wrestling Takes podcast. TW Takes podcast on all social media platforms. twtakes.podcast.com and twtakespodcast.com/twts. Got dope merch. I ship it all myself. It is the fastest shipping merch in the game, the least expensive merch in the game, because it's not about making the money. It's about spreading the word so we can have the conversations. I just opened up a Discord room. I'll give you guys the link to that so you can throw it in the description if you feel like it when it gets posted. But I'm trying to not paint a narrative, but I want to have a conversation in the narrative of being objective. And I don't think the three of us are going to be that objective today because we do see things very similar. But I would love to disagree with you guys and have that objective conversation because that's where the fun is for me.
It's exactly why you're here. It is objective. It is fun. It's why we do this. For those that haven't listened in a while, we did make a very, very, I would say, a long appearance on Bishop's WrestleMania preview show, which was a hell of a lot of fun. And as always, JB, I have with me the best Chris in all of wrestling podcasts. And again, I mean that. So any other Chris's, take it as you will. Sorry, guys.
There can be only one, man. I'm the Highlander. I'm like the only Chris in wrestling podcasts that can be heard. So, that's it. There can be only one.
We also have to shout before we do it, Mr. 3000.
Oh,
mention this. Like it did come up on Twitter as well. 3,000 downloads. Congratulations. That is that's phenomenal. I mean,
yes, thank you. I figure you were mentioning that just so I can say yes, that you guys are still my most listened to episode. And again, I'm looking for a needle mover, man. I might have to get CM Punk on here or something because Well, then again, I might get less views. I don't know. Or they'll probably just stay the same, because I think that's what happens anyway. When you get CM Punk on your show, it just stays the same. But no, you guys are my highest episode at 64 listens. Every time we cross a barrier, I send you guys a little DM on what it looks like. But yeah, I appreciate that. It's up to 3,100 now. Every time a subscriber hits, those numbers jump through the roof. So I appreciate that. The support again from you guys is unbelievable.
I think the only reason that's probably your most listened to podcast is because people listen to it and go, who the fuck are them two guys, man? Chatting shit. Like, what the heck is going on here? Where's Bishop?
Yeah, they have to listen to it twice just to understand all the British isms that you guys threw in there.
That's what we do, man. That's what we do. We're just sharing the love. You know what I mean?
Oh, absolutely. And speaking of sharing the love, I mean, again, from the beginning, I used to, and I don't know, I don't remember how I found your show. I wish I did. But that's what I would do. I would shoot out the isms at you guys, like, hey, every time you say bits and bobs, it fucking drives me nuts, because like I just start laughing, because you guys are as you as possible. You don't. There's no fronts. There's no bullshit. None of that. You guys are exactly who you are. And I was thinking about it. I was like, man, I wish I could watch wrestling as if I was 9-year-old Chrissy about to go sing at the Royal Albert Hall. You know what I mean? I'm trying to practice my hymns so I can watch wrestling and enjoy it as much as I used to when I was a kid. But you today, Chris, you enjoy it so much so that it's as if you never grew up in the wrestling lens, because I remember one of the things that definitely connected us early on was after the Santino interview. I DM'd you guys and I was like, wait, I thought you guys were going to mark out like crazy. Like, because you guys love wrestling so much that my perception was, when you get in front of who that celebrity wrestler is, you wouldn't be able to contain yourselves. But no, you're fucking adults. You're not children. You just love wrestling like children should, which is not it's a compliment in my opinion. Like, there's too many people who criticize it. I don't know if you guys saw the tweet that I put out the other day. Somebody is at Raw complaining that kids are loving it. And I'm like, well, number one,
yeah, saw it.
Raw's meant for that means Raw's meant for kids. Number two, what the fuck are you doing there if you don't like it? And then if you're not going to be objective and enjoy it, then move on. Don't talk about it. And you guys are so passionate about wrestling that, when you go into those modes of absolutely loving it, like I enjoy it. I have such a great time listening. So, and I'm glad to be here, and I'll be sure to be listening to myself when this drops too.
Do it, man. I mean, most episodes I don't have pants on when we're recording. So, I mean, I still have that level of enjoyment. But yeah, I mean, to be honest, like, I try not to be like I try not to be like the wrestling guys on Twitter. Do you know what I mean? I try not to be like, I mean, obviously there's stuff that I criticize and that Jordan criticizes and stuff, but why watch wrestling if you're not going to enjoy it? You have to, like, I think this is another reason why the rag sheets and the dirt sheets have kind of ruined wrestling to a point where people can't just watch it objectively and just enjoy it for what it is. Suspend your disbelief. You know what I mean? You have to take yourself out of, the behind the scenes shit and, Vince McMahon or Tony Khan or whatever. I mean, obviously we have our rants and our moments on that, but, you've just got to watch it and just go, just enjoy what you're watching, or kind of, I'm not really enjoying what I'm watching, but just be honest about it and don't try and, I think, can I be really honest? I think people give too much. They think their opinion means more than it does. Do you know what I mean? Like, too many fucking, I'm going to piss loads of people off of this, but I don't care. And we're only like 10 minutes in. Like, too many wrestling podcasts, wrestling video shows, wrestling review shows really think that their opinion means more than it does, because it don't mean shit. No one gives a fuck really what you think. They're watching it just to maybe, I don't know, like, broaden their horizons of maybe opening their mind to what they think, maybe just to get another opinion. But ultimately, people aren't going to be like, oh yeah, like, that guy's opinion was really spot on or whatever. Like, people are always going to be like, no, you're wrong. Or, you talking shit. Or occasionally people go, yeah, I actually agree with you. But really, your opinion doesn't mean shit. It's just we're doing this for our own sanity. That's why we don't really put too much stock in our own opinions. We're like, right, we watched this. This is what we thought. And I'm pretty sure in every single episode, JB, we always say, don't take our word for it. Fucking watch it yourself. And then, you know, we always say that pretty much every single episode. It's like, don't listen to us. Like, watch it yourself and then make your own opinions. But this is just what we think. Like, and if you like it or you don't like it, we don't really give a shit. You know, it's one of them things. It is what it is.
In the spirit of, you know, not taking ourselves too seriously, if you want to subscribe, you know, and, you know, check us out, Chris, you know, Chris can reel off every podcast, you know, medium that you can find us on. By all means, subscribe, follow, like, comment, you know, do all that shit.
Obviously slap the fucking bell. Do you know what I mean? Like, you know what I mean? We're not that far removed from how it is. Like, obviously we want you to subscribe and that so we can continue doing what we're doing. But ultimately, if you don't, I'm not going to have a cry wank about it. I'm just going to be like, all right, well, fine, fuck it. You know, it is what it is. But if you do want to subscribe, slap the bell. Chat Grapple and Cheap Pops podcast on YouTube. Hit us up at Chat Grapple Pops on Instagram and Twitter. That is JB's domain. He is the fucking man for that shit. You know, and yeah, we're on pretty much every single podcast platform available. I will not reel them off because I won't bore Bishop with that. And yeah, it is what it is. But ultimately, yeah, our opinion is our own. And if you like it, you like it. If you don't like it, you don't like it. But I think people do enjoy listening to us because we just, especially English people, I think English guys listening to two other English guys talking about wrestling is quite refreshing for us because we're used to listening to the American podcast. We're used to listening to, you know, something to wrestle with and fucking 83 weeks and all that shit, you know, which is fine. It's great, you know, and you know, there's so many wrestling podcasts out there that people can listen to. It's great. But to have a couple of English guys talking about Dandelion and Burdock and bits and bobs and, you know, Jack and Danny's. Yeah, you know, Jack and Danny's. You know, so it's all good, baby. It's all good.
Right.
Butter and parsnips.
Yeah, boy,
shit,
you know.
You've got to butter his parsnip before you get going.
Oh, he's already buttered my parsnip. Don't worry. Just accepting the offer of the Forbidden Door, he has buttered the parsnip. And that's why I'm wearing like a Major League Soccer jersey as well, just to kind of, I know it's not, you're from New York ways, right?
Yeah.
So
I was born and raised there. I live in Delaware now, which is, you know, just 3 hours away from where I grew up.
Oh, sweet.
You know, it's, so I guess it's right down the street from London, basically, for you guys, right?
Exactly.
Pretty much. Yeah.
It's like that London to Manchester thing.
Stone's throw.
I'm just as close to London as you guys are. Fucking man, you guys crack me. That's what I'm talking about. And if you guys don't know exactly what we're talking about, go back and listen to their last episode, the Rumble at the Royal Albert Hall. Is that what it was?
Yeah, the Battle Royal.
I'd say my memory is shit, but what I do remember is the good times I have. And I'll tell you this: I've even, I think I've even DM'd you guys during this whole podcast thing. The very first time you guys shouted me out, and appreciate that because it's on the intro to my episode, podcast.
It gasses me up every time I hear it. No, it's amazing. Every time I hear it.
The Terrible Wrestling Takes podcast, the intro has the people who shout me out on their shows because I do appreciate that. And the first time you guys did, no lie, I started tearing up because for people to recognize that this is exactly what you said, Chris. I understand my opinion doesn't matter, but what I do know is that if you listen to Sam Roberts or you listen to Peter Rosenberg or you listen to Conrad Thompson or even Busted Open, all those guys, you listen to them, I will guarantee you my opinion is different. That's why I started this, because there's more. I know there's more people like me who see it in between those lines. And a big problem I have with a lot of those people is they say, if you don't see it this way, you're wrong. You have to be blind if you don't see this. All I say, and I do catch myself every once in a while going in that because I do feel passionate about certain storylines and things like that. But again, with the AEW stuff, like, okay, you want to tell me Raw suck, but you keep tuning in. You want to tell me that this storyline is shit, but you don't want to hold AEW accountable for when Matt Hardy almost dies, right? Like, you know, and then I go to the Exploding Barbed Wire death match, right? What was the shit about that? No, they didn't lose viewers, but they should have, because had they lost viewers, then they wouldn't fuck up again next time. But they continue to keep fucking up because nobody holds them accountable. I'm going to say, okay, it was cool, but the fact that the death match wasn't a death match and that the exploding barbed wire didn't explode, I have a problem with that. The show did suck, and that should bring the show down. When most people's commentary on it was like, oh, well, it was a great match beforehand. No, it wasn't, because every spot where they landed on something that was going to explode, you got to piff. You got to piff. Did it look like somebody spilt the fucking nose candy. You know what I mean?
Like Marty Jannetty blew his nose in the Nasty Boys jacket.
Oh my God. Was it you guys or was it a different show? No, you said it, JB. You said on last episode, right before Marty Jannetty decided to throw himself through a window. Yeah. Come on.
Well, it's real funny because you are right as well. Like when I say that our opinions don't matter, I think I'm generalizing a little bit because
they're not gospel. We know they're not gospel.
That's right. That's right. We know like they're not objectively right or wrong. Do you know what I mean? It's like they're not like the truth. It is just literally an opinion, and they don't mean anything, but they do matter to some people because, like you say, like the majority of other wrestling podcasts, they're kind of tribal to a point where they're like, AEW fanboys, or they're like WWE all the way and AEW sucks. You know, it's too tribal. Like, it does seem like we're shitting on AEW a lot of the time, but it's probably because they're doing a lot of dog shit stuff. But when WWE does shit stuff, we always say, look, that sucked, or we weren't a fan of that, or whatever. So we try and be as less tribal as possible, like you do. You know, we do try and be that objective, like, look, we're not saying you should hate this or like this or whatever. We're just saying we watched this and this is what we got from it. You know, it is what it is. Watch it yourself if you don't think so. But we're not like, oh, you think this, you're wrong. And that's like, like what you say. That's unfortunately, don't know why people do it though, bro. Like, why? Like, do they think that they're going to get a call from Tony Khan going, yeah, you know what, bud? We're really loving your reviews and that. Maybe you can like come on board and like interview fucking, you know, I don't know, Chris Statlander or something, you know, I don't know. What do they think's going to happen? Like, do they think that they're going to somehow get some kind of pat on the back? Are they going to, you know, I don't understand.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. Again, I try to be me as much as possible. And again, I appreciate your guys' endorsement for heading over to the Ringer, even though I know that's not going to happen. Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, you know, if you ever stop doing your show for you and you do it for other people, it's going to sacrifice. I mean, that happened to me early on. I jumped up in listens from, I mean, my first, I don't know, 20 episodes, 6, 8, whatever. And then I was doing some better stuff. I was trying to broaden. I was doing a lot of work, and I jumped to 15, 18, 30. And then the turn of the new year, all that shit went back down into the single digits. And this is even after I had you guys on. So you guys must have fucking tanked my shit.
Yeah. Sorry, dude.
Nah, it's all good, man. We're back on track. We're back on track. We're averaging around 30 an episode, so I'm okay with that. Even though you guys got enough for 2 episodes. But no, the point is, I stopped doing it for me. I started doing it for everyone else. I had my own issues. And then when I started doing it for me again, I was like, oh shit, I found my voice again. I know how to spend, like my last episode, I was going to try to get it done in like 25 minutes because it was just NXT takeover and, you know, kind of like my spitballing of the future. I went 35 minutes. Just talking about NXT by myself. And it's not a pat on the back. It's just, that's my voice. My voice is seeing what direction we're going into and giving you my opinion. I could be completely wrong. And if I am, I'll say, fuck, I got that wrong. But when I was shouting out Lana for going through the table and everyone's going, oh, she's getting buried because Rusev went to AEW. She went through 9 tables in a row before they even said anything on WWE television. And I'm patting her on the back for putting in the work. And then right before she gets released, she has one of her best matches. I'm like, yes, if you pay attention and you invest in what the talent is doing for you, you can have a lot more fun. So again, I try to get back into 9-year-old Chrissy mode, singing hymns, and watch this with a child's objective eyes instead of some idiot adult who wants to pick apart something that I have no control over. Let me watch it and have fun.
Yeah,
oh,
man.
This is fun. People shit all over SummerSlam. The second time I watched it, I was like, SummerSlam was pretty fucking good. It was pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
So why shit on it? Have that fun. Be objective.
It's I think a lot of it is clout chasing, and there's something.
What are you gonna get? 150 retweets?
But
Yeah.
that's the game, bruv.
That might mean something to someone.
Mm.
You know, that might mean something to them. You know, getting
True.
the check mark next to their name on Twitter means something to people. It, you know, doesn't mean jack to the rest of us. But I have a question, Bishop, which has been burning a hole at the minute. One of your last Q&As, you said that you'd never accept a sponsorship from Blue Chew.
Yeah.
And then
Correct.
later on in the show, you're talking about Batista's dick.
Right.
I mean, it writes itself, man. Like, you seriously wouldn't accept that sponsorship from Blue Chew if we're talking about dicks?
Well, in Batista's case too, does he pop a Blue Chew so the blue makeup for Drax adheres better? And like I said, it doesn't matter how big Batista's dick is. We all know Drax is packing bigger heat than Batista is. I mean, he's a fucking space alien with extreme confidence and a dummy. No offense, a jacked dummy. Come on, you know he's got something going for him. So no, but
I really enjoyed that episode, that Q&A.
Really?
I really enjoyed it, man. It's like a peek into Bishop's soul. You know what I mean? It's like, you know, I mean, you're real in every single episode anyway when you're watching the stuff. But you know, the Q&A is like, it is a little bit more of a, you know, you get more of your personality out in it because it's your honest opinions on sometimes stupid questions, but then you put your own spin on the answers, which is cool, man.
I appreciate
I have asked some stupid questions. Yeah.
And I'm sure I've answered them properly.
Yeah. You really brought light to the Snapple in Arizona debate, man. It was something else.
But see, in those instances, honestly, you can try to ham it up. You can try to write a joke. You can try to, you know, whatever you want to call it. But I don't know. I appreciate that because I do try to be objective. I try to be as silly and funny as possible because that's just, I mean, you know, one of my favorite movies of all time is Zack and Mary Make a Porno, right? And when that movie came out, you see the title, you're like, I'm not watching that. Well, Seth Rogen is the star. Elizabeth Banks is the female lead. Craig Robinson, who everybody loves today, right? This movie's made like 20 years ago, and you have these people who, and it's the Kevin Smith people, right? Jay Muse is in it. Kevin Smith directed it. It's a Kevin Smith movie. If you tell somebody, hey, you want to see a Kevin Smith movie, and you hand them that title with nobody on the cover, you're like, wow, this has got to be fucking silly funny. And it's silly funny. It's like, it's my favorite shit. So yeah. But no, honestly though, the Blue Chew thing, the reason why I would never accept a sponsorship, I'm tired of the fucking commercials. And they all sound the same. Which is why when I hear people do an Anchor commercial, I'm like, mine's better because I try to make it sound different. And I've listened to two-man podcasts try to bounce the Anchor because it's a script. You bounce it off each other and you try. No, I try to filter it my way. And then when I hear other people do it who I know get way more listens than I do, I'm like, yeah, but mine's better because I try to do me. I try to interject me into these things. And I've heard so many Blue Chew. I've never used it. I don't have a desire to use it. Not even on some macho shit. More or less, I'm afraid to take it and then need to keep using it. So I don't need to vasodilate my shit and then find out I don't have enough blood for when I don't need it. So no, I wouldn't do it. Yeah, I wouldn't accept the Blue Chew ad.
You don't need Blue Chew, man. You don't need Blue Chew. Just butter your parsnip like I do. That's it. You honestly slap the butter on the parsnip and you'll be going all day long like the clappers. Too many Manscaped commercials as well. Yeah. Like
but I would love that. I would love Manscaped. A free beard trimmer, a free ball trimmer. I would love it. $1 Shave Club? Yeah, I'll take it.
$1 Shave Club. You know? Yeah, see, there's a few, man. I mean, what is it?
But I hear you. Yeah, there's too many of the same.
Max Weldon. Have you heard the Max Weldon ones?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I've got like I listen to some really obscure podcasts in America, like some real fucking like crazy ones by the comedians and stuff. And, you know, some of the ads on there, you know, like CBD, you know, commercials, Mac Weldon for underwear with, you know, like Joey Diaz and all that has some weird ones on there.
Yeah.
You know,
that's a guy who will do an ad in his voice.
Yeah.
You know, let me tell you something, cocksuckers.
Yeah. Fucking tremendous.
These MeUndies. Yeah, if you don't want, yeah.
Yeah.
You ain't never felt fucking his Manscaped commercials are fantastic.
He's
you don't
great,
want to cut
man.
the ball back. Like, yeah, Joey Diaz is great. I haven't listened to him in a while though, but
I just listened to the last one where he had oh fuck, who did he have on? He had another comedian on. It was it wasn't that great actually. It was a little bit boring, but it was that's the last one I watched on the way to work with another comedian on. It had its moments, but I mean, I think that's another thing that we need to talk about is like the pure amount of wrestling podcasts that are out there. It's, let's be honest, there's too much shit for people to wade through to get like good content. I think it is a fucking minefield, and that's why I think people with good content often struggle to keep listeners or to even be found in the first place. There are a few. I don't want to fucking piss too many people off. There's a few.
you're just
you know,
nice, man.
Like podcast groups, you know, where you know people they're retweeting each other and stuff like that, and resharing each other's episodes and stuff, you know. And like I say, I'm not trying to fucking burn bridges or whatever, but ultimately, I think we're just kind of passing the dutchie on the left-hand side, and it's just going round in a circle. It's not really expanding anything, really. I mean, you know, and there's some good guys in those groups. Don't get me wrong. Do you know what I mean? We chat with a few guys. There's some good content in there, but I think ultimately there are just so many wrestling podcasts, and even more since lockdown start, you know, or whenever. I don't know when it kicked off in the States, but ours was like, what, 2019, George, when lockdown over here?
Yeah, around it was in the first lockdown, which was pretty fucking dire, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Around about the first lockdown. So yeah. When
I mean, and that's when me and Jordan started, really. Like, you know, it's just because we just had more time for it. But it seemed like, and I'm gonna say, like, every cunt and their uncle had a podcast at that time, and it's like, all right, cool. Like, I'm not knocking it because that's what we did, but some people really just shouldn't. Like, you know, just because you can don't mean you should. You know, and that's not me being fucking dick about it or saying that we're amazing or anything. It's just there's just so much, man. There's just so many to wade through. It's sometimes it's difficult, and I can see from an objective person's point of view who's trying to just find good wrestling content. It's just hard. It's really hard to, you type in wrestling review. Fuck. You know, you're going to get the top hits. You're going to get like WrestleMania. You know, you're going to get the big ones, because WrestleMania is quite a big one in the UK. What's that?
Ones that pay for, you know, promotion.
Yeah.
And
the ones that pay
that's
for,
the other thing too. There's so many podcast platforms. Like one of the cool things, or one of the reasons why I get down with Anchor, is everything across it is free. But when I look at like Podbean or Spreaker or some of these other ones, they have different tiers that not only are you paying for, because Anchor is also unlimited upload length. There's no amount of time you can put on your episodes per week, per month, per day, nothing. You can live stream for fucking 3 weeks in a row, post that as one episode, and you're good to go. But these other ones, they have so many tiers, but every tier that you pay for the ability to use, you're also paying for automatic downloads. And I don't want to do that. Like, yes, I would love for my numbers to be up there. Again, I know people who have worse shows than me. And that's not even just, that's just objective listening to my ear. And I hate my own voice, but I don't mind my show. I really don't. And then when I think about it, when I listen back to my own, I go, okay, can I say something different? Can I structure the show a little bit different? Did everything come off okay? And honestly, JB, you usually get to me first, or I'll get someone like Graham from the Good Cop, Bad Cop, and just, hey, great show. I love this point. And I'm like, okay, good. Anything I was insecure about, I already listened to. I know some people listen to already. Cool. We can go forward. I would hate to get 15,000 downloads and think I'm doing a good job. That doesn't make sense to me. I can't justify getting those listens or even bragging about them. So when I hit 1,000 for the first time, I felt amazing. When I crossed 50 downloads on your guys' episode on my show, it felt awesome. I was like, oh, this is so cool. And then what was even cooler is I had a standalone episode of just me hit 50. And I was like, fucking right. I'm doing something right. Now I can focus on what that was that got me there. It's not just having you guys on my show that raises the tide. You know what I mean? I can now look at a me show and go, okay, when I talk about this stuff, it moves a little bit more. I talk about that stuff, it goes down a little bit. Honestly, I get most of my downloads on solo episodes from AEW shows. And I can't stand AEW. But either people like listening to AEW reviews or they like how I talk about AEW, which is hard because if they like how I talk about AEW, then I got to watch it. And I'm like, fuck, I got to watch it. Now I got to talk about it. And most of the time when I talk about it, I watch back so I don't forget anything. You know, but these solo ones that I do that, you know, again, that needle moves a little bit. I'm like, okay, good. That makes me feel good, but it's organic. It's not an automatic 10,000 downloads, you know? So what's the difference between 10 and 12,000 besides 2,000? But when you're already paying for 10, I don't know what that extra 2,000 means. Does that mean that a couple more ads filtered through? Does that mean that a couple more automatic plays happen? You know what I mean? So I like the organicness about what I do. I would love for my listenership to grow more. But at the end of the day, if I get you guys and your support and I get, you know, the plethora of hashtag our side of the IWC that actually listen and support, it's great. It's great. And to you guys' point before, I also don't like, from a personal standpoint, having more retweets than listens. That bothers me. If retweeting doesn't support my show.
100%, bro.
The like button on Twitter doesn't support my show because when you like it, it doesn't go to other people's feeds. So yes, retweet it so other people can see that shit, but also download it and listen. And if you don't have time to listen, and that's what makes your guys' episodes so great. They're evergreen. They're evergreen. It doesn't, in 5 years from now, they can listen to you talk about the Royal Albert Hall. Like, it's doesn't matter. That show's already gone. Where mine are more of the now. So you got to listen, you know? So, you know, I don't know where I'm really rambling to, but as far as like the listens go, I'd much rather be way more organic than pay for placement. Paying for placement just doesn't make sense to me. It's like being on Ico Pro. You know, can you really trust the physique?
Hey,
we lost Lex.
we'll ask Lex and Steiner. I'm sure they'll disagree. Anyway, talking about Ico Pro, you can get our lovely merch as well. The Ico Pro Jacked Winners mugs there with mine and Jordan's mug on a mug.
This is just a plain one with us in.
That's the other design.
Us in our workout gear.
That's right. Fucking
cosplay.
I
love how can you throw that up again, JB? I love how I love how Chris is like, I'm trying, but I don't know if I should be here right now. Like,
man, that's what I was like in the ring as well. Like, I just used to stand in the corner, just be like, what am I doing here? But I used to have massive dreadlocks as well. So there is a picture. Maybe I'll put it on screen now of me in Dagenham in a ring and real quality wrestling with in Len Davis's place with the young JB and also the amazing Cactus Matt. Yeah. And there's me in the corner in the ring just looking fucking cool as fuck with like massive dreadlocks, you know, gloves on. And I weren't on the Ico Pro then either, so I was a right skinny little fucker.
There's also that clip from YouTube which managed to find of you hitting someone with a hurricanrana, like out of nowhere.
Man.
Like I said, it was filmed on a potato, so it looked like it could be either Chris or Jungle Boy doing this move in the middle of, you know, God knows where. I don't know.
It was in Hatfield, bro. It was in the Hatfield Leisure Centre, bruv. That's if you want to go UK, it was in Hatfield Leisure Centre on like a Thursday night under like them really yellow lights. I don't know if you have them in the leisure set, like in a sports place where you can go and play like badminton and shit.
Sure.
You know, under those really shitty yellow lights that you find in there, in like it's like a school hall, you know, like where you'd have assembly. I don't know if did you guys have assemblies in school?
Yeah. You know, I get what you're talking about with the lights. Yeah, it's only found I'm sure they put them up in the 60s. They weren't safe in the 70s, and they decided to just say fuck it and leave them up in the 80s. Yeah, I know.
That's it, man. And they're still there to this day. Those shitty lights. But yeah, it's just me hitting. I can't remember. I can't remember who it was I was hitting with that Hurricane Rana either. But we were doing some training because me and Jordan, like, we looked at getting into the business.
What stopped it? What stopped it?
That's a long story.
It's a long story. Maybe we should go into it, man. Like
we could dive into that one day, but I just think that we'd be really, really digging people out on this.
Yeah, we fucking would.
Gotcha. There's people.
Well, I'm not the feds. I'm just listening to you guys. I promise. Cool. I'm not the feds. I'm just listening.
But basically, there's a lot of politics involved in the wrestling business, yeah. And it's like, if you're willing to, like, you know, if you can deep throat down to the ball bag, you're good, man. You know what I mean? You know, if you're willing to just kind of,
right?
Yeah. If you're willing to just gas people up, then you can go far. But if you're kind of like we are, and we give our honest criticism about things that are happening, and certain people that are getting the push and certain people that are not getting the push, then you get fucking, not like you get buried, but you kind of get buried. You know what I mean?
Slightly mistreated.
Yeah,
well, I look forward to that. It's a shoot, brother. I look forward to that one.
Deep dive into what happened to our very short wrestling careers.
Well, to be honest, you know, we've been trained by and been around people that are kind of big in the UK. You know, we could have if we really wanted to, but the fact is as well, with wrestling, you kind of have to not have a family, not have a wife, not have kids, or if you do, you have to not give a fuck about any of them, and just kind of go out there on the road, kind of just literally do anything that you need to do. And it was like, it was difficult at that time because my son was quite young. When I first started, he wasn't born, and then he was born, and then it was like, shit, you know, like, I don't really have time to go training and shit, and you know, but yeah, it's kind of it's tough, man. If you want to be a wrestler, like, it's not easy, you know, and it is tough on the old body. As soon as you get one niggly injury that just keeps coming back and coming back and coming back, like, it's fucking hard. I mean, I'm pretty sure, like JB will say, dude, you had a bad fucking back, right? Like, JB's knee was fucking gone, his back.
I ended up having some injection in my spine and stuff, like, a few years back, just to, you know, because there was a time, like, way after wrestling and stuff like that, though, I couldn't get up. I couldn't get out of bed. Like, I couldn't get up and walk around. It was so, like, and that was probably due to, you know, bumping on the ridiculous floor.
Bumping on fucking gymnastic mats and them going, no, it'd be fine. It's fine. Right. No, it's fine. Just slap your arms out. It's fine. It's not fine. It's really not fine. I'm not okay. I mean, it's fucking tough, man. It is, you know, and some people are built for it and some people ain't, but there's a lot of facets to it. You know, there's the physical side of it. There's the literally giving up everything else and going for it. And there's also the politics of, if you
play the game.
If you don't play the game, game over.
Respect.
And that's not even a Triple H sort of thing. That's just everything about it. You just got to you've got to completely immerse yourself in it. And if you can't give 100%, then like, it's not really for you. And as we're finally starting to move on to wrestling.
Hell yeah. You got me all day. The wife took the kid shopping. So,
damn,
you know,
here we go.
I'm yours. I'm all yours. Just don't put me in the middle.
Yeah. Come on, man. You got a Chat Grapple and Cheap Pop sandwich just waiting to happen with the squishy Bishop Center right there, baby.
Let's start with WWE, because I think if I started you off with AEW, we could be here all night. Brock Lesnar's back. Apparently, it's 8 matches for over 2 years. How do you feel? Are you happy?
So, number one, and this is no disrespect to you, I don't care about 8 matches for 2 years. That doesn't bother me.
Yeah.
Tomorrow is what bothers me, right? Or is what I'm worried about. I'm not worried about 8 matches for 2 years. Zero concern of mine. I don't care because that's not for me to worry about. What's for me to worry about is what I saw. Now, since you guys listen to the show, you know that I put this out there towards the end of last year. What if Roman and Brock became tag team champions? What does that look like? And that's why I don't fantasy book, because I say dumb shit like that and it never leaves my brain. And I'm like, man, that'd be fucking awesome. But no, look, Brock, I did speaking of podcast groups, I'm part of the Pro Wrestling Index. And we're just a group of podcast people who the guy Tim who runs it does a great job of putting up individual websites for our episodes, and we have this cool community. But what we did was we ranked our top 200 wrestlers. And when I was I picked 10. So I got to finish every single round. And at 10, I was like, man, it's the way these people think it's either going to be John Cena or it's going to be Brock Lesnar. And they didn't pick Cena. So I had to pick Cena at 10. And then at 20, Lesnar was still around. So I picked Lesnar. Lesnar is one of the greatest of all time. He just is. His athletic ability, the way that fucking crowd went. When's the last time you were supposed to cheer for Brock Lesnar? When was he the good guy in what was happening? Right?
He's never
he was cheered ironically
Yeah.
when people didn't want Roman to win. He was cheered ironically when he beat the shit out of John Cena, right? But he was never supposed to be the
Seth
good
Rollins.
guy.
I think he challenged Rollins when Rollins was part of the Authority. I think it was the only other time.
Well, because at that time wasn't he? Oh yes, yeah, kind of when they did like the triple threat and all that. But even Lesnar then was a part timer still under Heyman's wing. And I'm not saying that to disagree with you, but the concept that I'm at least mentally is like you're not supposed to cheer for him. But the response he got at SummerSlam, him giving daps to the crowd with the fist bumps and the high fives, what Brock Lesnar has ever done that?
Now that gave me some serious Sid vibes.
Bro, I was going to say, that gave me some Sid vibes. Like, fucking yeah. He's the man that rules the world.
Hell yeah.
End
the
of.
master and the ruler.
The master
of the
and the ruler. Don't gas me up on Sid, man. I get excited.
Sweaty ass perm mullet that he had.
Yeah,
Jesus.
dude.
That thing was gorgeous. Hey, can we start over? Sid's the best, man.
Oh, Sid's awesome.
Sid, very underrated, but also rightfully so, right? I mean, the guy had tremendous success. He was over with the crowd like crazy. I mean, you guys are the princes of previous pay-per-view, right? Every time you see Sid, how nuts does the crowd go?
Oh, insane.
Was he any good?
No, but that don't matter ultimately because
I know that's what's crazy.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, the fact that in the Rumble where he eliminated, the whole Hogan situation where they kind of the crowd were cheering for Sid and Hogan didn't like it, and
right.
all this kind of shit. It's amazing, It's for me still the interviews and the little bits that he did in WrestleMania 11. When they were talking about, Diesel and all that shit, it was fucking incredible. Like he was just a loose cannon on the mic. He was just, just incredible, man. Like that
but
for me.
Yeah, so to the Brock Lesnar point though, I'm super excited because I think at the end of the day, it doesn't in my perception, it doesn't feel like he doesn't want to be here. It feels like he wants to be here and he really enjoyed the SummerSlam moment. And he, as much as he stared down Roman, he didn't stare him down. It wasn't about, he didn't point at the title. It was none of that. It was Brock is back and this is how big Brock is. He is main event big. And the crowd showed it and he showed it. I mean, he's fucking massive. I said to a buddy of mine, I said, why are his arms longer? What the fuck? He's almost 50 and his arms are getting longer. He fucking blue chewed his arms.
He's
that's what Sable will do to you, man. Super excited for him to be back. I really, besides the Ambrose match at WrestleMania, I don't think he disappoints. I think he does. I have him as top 2 salesman of all time. When it comes to giving himself to his opponents, he's either number 1 or number 2. And by the time Roman's done, he might be knocked down to 3. But my top 3 of all time of giving themselves, and it's just because basically recency bias, but Triple H, Roman, and Brock Lesnar are the top 3 at giving themselves to their opponents when they're there to play ball. When Brock Lesnar is facing off against Daniel Bryan, Finn Balor, AJ Styles, even Ricochet, like when he's there and he's performing that triple threat with Cena and Rollins, I mean, even the Roman match before the cash in by Rollins, when Lesnar's there to play ball, there's nothing better to watch. He is fucking fantastic, and we should all appreciate it. So I'm here for it. I don't care how many matches it is. It could be one more. And if it was one more, in my opinion, we'd get probably the greatest Lesnar match of all time. I think he's here to play ball, and that's all I care about.
Yeah, man. Him and Angle at 19 was a fucking great match. You know, the fact that he fucked up the shooting star doesn't really matter. It was still a great match. And he did, like you say, he gave himself to Angle, and they had their issues as well, behind the curtain or whatever it was said, you know. But the fact is, great match, you know. And Lesnar, we can have the conversation on another certain individual coming back to wrestling that same week, and which one is the bigger draw.
We'll get there, don't worry.
You know, but like Bishop's saying, like, to say that Lesnar isn't that fucking superstar, isn't that main eventer, is pure bullshit, because he is. Yeah. He's way up there, man. He is. You know, he's Brock Lesnar. You know, and the fact that Heyman's in the mix as well with Roman, it's just beautiful. Absolute recipe for amazingness. So yeah, let's see how it goes. But again, the fact that we even know that it's 8 matches over 2 years, we shouldn't know that. Right. We shouldn't even have that information, and that's not our fault. That is the fucking rag sheets, brother. Right. You know, we shouldn't know that shit. Maybe we need a disconnect. We said it on one of our previous shows. We need that disconnect from the rag sheets in order for people to watch it and just watch it and not know. You know, watch Lesnar come back and not think, but he's only here for 8 matches over 2 years. What the fuck? You know, we don't need that. We need to just go, fuck yeah, man, Lesnar's back. Let's see what they do. You know, but that kind of suspension of disbelief, we don't have it, because people can just go on the internet and just look at what's going on, and there's always going to be some fucking rat backstage who's got information and he's going to put it on the internet. And
the reason why I block all of those, because what you just described means more to a lot of the fan base than what actually happens on TV.
Fucking
and
that
bothers me.
Yeah.
That bothers me. It's like, why? And that's another reason why I started the show, is because, because of course, right? The one fuck face of all time that I fucking hate, fuck Dave Meltzer. And that's the only time I'll say his name on this show. Every time, I remember this fucking 10 years ago or 7 years ago when I got back into this. Every time they did something different, they changed it last minute. Or how about just saying you were fucking wrong? You were wrong.
The old plans change. Yeah, it doesn't.
Sometimes plans change, and sometimes you're just fucking wrong. Yeah, I could not stand it. I'm like, you know what? Instead of saying before something happens what I think is going to happen, I will say this story is leading this way. I'm super invested. I don't know what's going to happen. Let's watch and find out. Because when you watch and find out, you can actually enjoy it. That's how I take it in.
Heaven forbid we watch wrestling and fucking enjoy it. Jesus.
And
who'd have thought it, man? Fuck.
Yeah.
What an idea that is, eh?
I don't look. I got to be honest. I try my best to watch wrestling the same way I watch regular entertainment. Okay, if I'm invested in a TV show, I don't read the TV guide. Shouts to being old. I don't read the TV guide to see what's going to happen next, right? Mm-hmm. I'm a huge fan of all the Marvel movies. I never watch trailers. The Spider-Man trailer that got leaked and it's all over Twitter, I tell people who post it on there, get the shit off my feed, because I don't want to see the trailer. I want to go to the theater and be surprised by what happens. I'm already gassed up by what it is. It's a new fucking Spider-Man. The leaks are out that fucking it's crossovers with the original Spider-Man and all that shit. Like, cool. I spoil that for me. Fine. How does it happen? Hey, let's find out. The fact that I saw, spoiler, the cap of the Spider-Man trailer I saw had Doctor Strange in it. I'm like, fuck you guys. Like, I was going to bat for Doctor Strange when nobody else was, because I thought that movie was fucking incredible. And now everybody's like, oh my God, Dr. Strange, Dr. Strange. No, motherfucker. Like, I've been saying Roman's a tribal chief from day one. You know what I mean? Like, that's how I like integrate all this stuff, because wrestling is entertainment and you should enjoy it. The same way you don't yell at a writer for killing off your favorite character. You know what I mean? Watch it. What's the conclusion? Oh shit, how'd you feel? Wow, I'm kind of bummed that my favorite guy isn't here anymore. Okay. What's next? Next episode. Keep going. Keep going.
Who's next?
Yeah.
Now, I was in Bishop's Twitter space on over SummerSlam, which was very, very oh man, what an experience that was. That was so much fun. I couldn't last the night. I think I got to about, must have been 2:15, 2:45, like our time, and I was like,
real trooper, man. You were on forever.
Should have got on the beak, bruv. I'm telling you.
I didn't even think about it, to be honest. I should have had a couple of bumps, and I'd have been right on it.
Yeah, mate.
I heard your reaction when the man came back.
Hell yeah.
It was so fucking pure. Like, it was like a real happiness in Bishop's, like in his noises, his voice. It was like, and I was a couple of seconds behind as well on my feed.
The man orange, baby, right there. I got to change it in the description.
At no point did he mention it. At no point did he say, "Oh, it's Becky Lynch, Becky Lynch." Like, you know, he just
It was
just pure, like.
I can't spoil it for the watch-alongs. No. I can't do that. No. Thank you. I appreciate that. Look, Becky's a big reason why I continued watching, because when Raw was going downhill with storylines, Becky was killing it. Or if she was cut out of Raw, she was on SmackDown holding it down. I'm an Alexa fan today because of the feud she had with Becky. When Alexa threw Becky through the table for the women's championship, my wife and I are sitting on a couch like, what the fuck? Who is Alexa? What the fuck is going on? So we watched Alexa to see if Becky could get the title back. We watched Alexa to see how this character grew and if she could wrestle and all this shit. And like, all right, now I'm a huge Alexa mark. I mean, you guys, again, have listened to the show. I've been following that story since fucking November on what's going on with Alexa. I love me some Becky Lynch. And I posted it on Twitter. I actually said it on the last episode, I believe. This is the first time in my show, which JB, you hopped on the 100th episode, and you were also there for the 1-year anniversary, which was SummerSlam. So again, thank you so much, sir. And Chris, not to put you out there, when I was prepping for Twitter Spaces, my guy Chris was on the train headed home, and he's like, "Fuck it, I'm gonna click in here and see what's up."
So we were
talking for it was great. No, you guys are the best. You guys absolutely are the best at supporting my show. I cannot thank you guys enough. But no, you guys being there for those moments. Understand, I've been doing this for a year. 105 episodes or 104 episodes before SummerSlam happened, 0 Becky Lynch matches, 0 Becky Lynch storylines. This is going to be a whole new side of Bishop that you guys have seen. I am a mark for real, because I said it when she debuted with PCB that, okay, she's more charismatic than the rest of them. I know Sam Roberts is a huge Sasha Banks fan. Let me see. Okay, I get it. She's super athletic and technical, but she's missing that gravitas that I get. And when Becky was going back and forth, I was like, okay. She was a little hit or miss in the beginning, but even before she turned on Charlotte, and I said it, I fucking said that shit first. I was like, oh, nobody's booing her. I knew that shit. And then, again, another reason why I have the show. I'm listening to podcasts trying to defend how they made the right choice or that it was switched back because of this and that. I'm like, no. Nobody understands, like I understand, what Becky is and who Becky is. Because I had raw emotions to her, just in a character standpoint. So watching her build and all that shit, I'm fucking ready, man. And she's been gone. And now Sasha taking her time. I have no clue what's going on. I don't care. Bayley, she's injured. Charlotte's on Raw. Who is going to hold down SmackDown except for the man? And I tweeted it out fucking on SmackDown 8 seconds in, and she's so captivating. That promo, I don't even remember what she said, but what I know is when she puts that mic to her mouth and she says a couple words, the crowd goes fucking nuts and you're ready to hear what happens next. That is special. That is special, especially when the crowd in today's day and age allows the person to talk. That's the kind of respect she has on the mic. Her character is going to be great. I have no clue what it is. I don't care. If oh, she's going to be a heel. Go fuck yourself. You don't know what she's going to be. You don't know until she has a match or cuts a promo. And when she does let out that promo, if she's like me, which we are the same, me and Becky are the same, just trying to let you guys know. I'm such a Becky fan, dude. She goes out there and she speaks her truth, right? The way Austin would, right? He would go out there, he'd speak. She's not Austin, she's Becky. But she goes out, she speaks the truth. If you bite it one way, she'll take it that way. If you bite it another way, she'll take it that way. She does that better than any other woman. I'm not going to name any fucking names because we don't need to have a fucking 5-hour conversation on someone else. She does that better than any other woman on the roster. And the fact that she is back is all that matters. I don't care if she's a heel, and I've said this on my show too. Again, I love Roman. He is a huge reason why I'm back. His character work. Again, I take this as 9-year-old, ready to go sing hymns, baby. I am watching Roman going, you're my favorite, and I hate you. When you get lost in this, that's the point. That's the point. Exactly. The point's not to be smarter than what this is. So yeah, I'm so happy Becky's back, and I'm glad you felt that emotion because I was fucking excited.
Yeah, I could feel that. I was sitting there with my phone in my hand with Samsung on the TV, and I could feel like this, like something big's happening. Someone's losing their shit here on my phone. And
and shout to JB too. When he hops on, right? I'm usually around 8:00 p.m. East Coast time in the US. It's 1-2 o'clock in the morning. And this is JB. Hey guys, I just wanted to come in and say hello. He's trying not to wake anybody up. He's whispering like a fucking church mouse, pissing on cotton. He's just like, no, you guys are great. And it's like hour in. Hey JB, man, I won't let you go. No, it's okay, man. I'm just hanging. That kind of support is it's so special, man. It's so special. And Chris, of course, on the train, you know, you're the man. You're the fucking man.
It's cool, man. People thought I was crazy.
You are.
I am the best Chris. Cheers, dude. I appreciate that. fuck any other Chris's. They take it how they will.
I will jump onto the Bianca situation really quickly. I personally don't feel she was being jobbed or anything like that, or being buried or anything like that. I have my own sort of personal feeling as to what went on, and I've explained this to a couple of people already. I just think it was part of it's a new part of the story, and it's a new way to move forward after Sasha not being there to do the whole possibly 30-minute match that they were going to have or whatever. It was Bianca not being ready in the slightest for Becky and being caught out completely. That's just how I saw it.
People shat on it though, didn't they?
Oh man,
people instantly, the fucking smarks, they came out and they're like, oh, fucking shitting on her, fucking burying her. It's like, no, dude. It's like, you know, when the man returns, obviously it has to be something with gravitas, and it has to be something in your fucking face. It has to be, you know, she has to imprint her dominance in some way. And she did that the way they did it, like JB saying, caught Bianca, blindsided her, you know, she's not ready. Fuck, it's the man, you know, that's that. But like we said again, people are trying to be smarter than, it's like they're trying to watch a fucking soap opera and take it to pieces because it's not what they think it should be. It's like, just sit back, watch it, enjoy it, and just see it for what it is, and don't try and analyze every fucking piece of it. Just wait and see how it makes you feel, you know. Let it in.
No criticism on that one. Just let it in.
Just let it in. I'll leave it, you know what I mean? But I mean to
no, I agree. Look, I was making the point live as it happened, and when I went back and watched it, I still felt the same way. But this is it right here. This is why I take my show the way I do. And I do think I'm right. I do think people are wrong only if people go, well, Vince this, well, the sheets say that. Well, no. What did you see on TV?
Yeah.
What you saw on TV was someone who hasn't been wrestling as long as Becky get caught up by the moment, be overexcited, and get taken advantage of. You got someone who returned like Becky, and let's say this, no offense to, let's say, Tegan Knox. If Tegan Nox comes out, is the moment as big? No. If Tegan Nox does the same thing to Bianca, am I defending Tegan Nox? No. I'm probably agreeing with those that say, wow, something must be fucked up. Bianca's getting buried. Again, I understand my bias here. I'm a Becky fucking fan. Big time. But this is also Becky fucking Lynch. Becky Lynch, who, without her in the main event with Ronda and Charlotte, the match doesn't mean as much. It just doesn't. Becky carried a women's division across the entire company for a long time. She has more memorable moments and matches than any other woman does. And maybe that's because, well, Bayley too. Bayley and everything, she's fucking incredible as well. But my point is, she got the Brock Lesnar treatment because she's closer to the Brock Lesnar of the women's division than anyone else. She's that special. She left as champion. She was once champ. So why wouldn't she have the ability to take advantage of someone not as experienced in the business who's caught up in the moment? If you take it for what is there, and then my comment to some people was, well, it could have been longer. How long was long enough? How long was the match going to be to make it long enough? And then tell me how that match goes. Script it to me. Let me hear the whole thing. I understand how matches work. I watch them. Tell me the match. What do you want them to do? You want them to lock up? Bianca grabs a headlock, throws her down, goes for the moonsault, misses the moonsault. Now Becky does something. The longer the match goes, the longer Bianca has to wear out somebody who hasn't wrestled in 16 months, right? So I can even debunk your, oh, well, the match should have been longer. For what? What reason? What story did we get? In my opinion, what I saw on the TV, they zoomed right in on Bianca's face again. The only thing she did different at WrestleMania was cry. That moment was too big for her at WrestleMania. They kicked ass at WrestleMania. That match surprised me. They did a fucking phenomenal job. Sasha and Bianca did fantastic at WrestleMania. And yes, Bianca and Becky can do fantastic too. This makes more sense because me, as someone who doesn't see Bianca on that technical level yet, now has to work for something. She now has to strive for something. Now I get to watch Bianca earn it, and most likely through matches. Who has she wrestled before being champion besides Bayley?
But this is why they've done it as well, I think, because Bianca was good when she was chasing. When she was chasing the title and when she got to that pinnacle and she achieved something. But I do think, I mean, I even said it at WrestleMania that maybe she did get the title a little early than she should have, maybe. But the fact is she got it. But now, like you say, it's been taken away from her and now she has to reach another level. So she leveled up and then she's been brought back down to earth with a bump to say, hold your fucking horses a minute. You're not quite there yet, sweetheart. You need to, you know what I mean? And that's what Becky Lynch is coming. Hold on, love.
And then who,
you know,
if you don't like what happened, who do you care about more coming out of SummerSlam? Becky or Bianca? So how many people hated the match and now care about Bianca more than they did before?
Exactly. That's the whole point, right?
No shit.
Yeah. Yeah, that's exactly it. The marks are out marking themselves, bro. The marks are marked. You know, it's like a paradox, man. The marks are marking themselves out. Like it's crazy, ain't it?
I'll mention her name and then I'll let you guys take it there if we need to after this. But I'm not a Charlotte fan. They had the triple threat at SummerSlam. Charlotte won the title. I hate when she holds the title. I don't think she uplifts anybody. I go back, I rewatched the match, and I said this on my SummerSlam recap. This is the first time I saw a Charlotte match beginning to end where the entire story of the match made sense for Charlotte to win the title. I go, well, if Charlotte doesn't win the title, it doesn't make sense actually for Rhea or Nikki to get the pin in this match. They did nothing, honestly, until like the very last 2 minutes of the match to show someone was going to win. It was just a battle of three women, and then the finish was knee injury. Charlotte landed the figure eight on Nikki. That was it. I go, oh, the story of the match made sense. Do I like the outcome? No, that's personal bias. Did I like the match? No, I actually thought the match was pretty bad. But did the match make sense? Yeah, it did. So I'm not gonna dislike the finish, dislike the match, but then shit on it because it didn't make sense. or shit on it because I didn't like it, even though it made sense. I can't do that. I have to give them that credit. So I'll do the same thing in this instance. If I didn't think it makes sense, I'd let you know. But if I let you know, hey, this is how I see it, this is why I think it makes sense, and you go, oh, well, you know, it only happened because outside match stuff, then I'm like, I can't listen. We can't talk anymore. The conversation is not going to exist.
Yeah, let's just discuss what's going on the screen.
Yeah.
I'm going to shift the gear one just quickly. How would either one of you fix Raw? Because Raw's tanking.
I'll jump in and go first. I think, honestly, they have to do it more. They have to merge like AEW and SmackDown together. So like the way Dynamite is presented, in my opinion, every time I turn it on, which isn't often, it's punch, 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 punch. I'm not really seeing, you know, like a Bret Hart work the knee, work the knee, work the knee, work the knee, sharpshooter, right? I don't see the story thread on AEW, but I see it on SmackDown. Now, SmackDown's too short, in my opinion, to have you invested in, is Roman going to allow Paul Heyman inside the dressing room? Where is Roman even? What that promo between the Usos and Heyman showing, is there some dissension here? And the way they thread that story, oh yeah, there's a bunch of matches too. If they can mix the punches, the punch style of AEW to keep people invested while the story is going around those punch style things, then yeah, I mean, so like for instance, you have a King of the Ring qualifier or 205 Live qualifiers throughout the night, but you can't do that all year long. So I honestly don't know, but I keep watching to see, because I think there are bits and bobs in there that you can take and enjoy. For me, like the Alexa storyline, and now Doudrop and Eva Marie, which everybody shitted on, but I think where that is going is where everybody wanted it to. So I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, it clearly needs a switch up in some way, but I think you've got to start from the basis and look at, all right, what are they doing right? Where is it? You know, didn't you say before that kids are liking Raw more?
Oh yeah.
You know, so, you know, maybe it's time to kind of maybe just accept that we're not going to like it, maybe, and maybe it's not for us. You know, maybe the smart marks aren't meant to enjoy it. Maybe it's not for them. You know, maybe that's it. You know, it's so difficult because, fuck, I mean, it's so difficult. There's so many facets of what makes something good and or what makes people want to shit on stuff. I mean, so let's break it down like this. So what about Raw do people think is so bad? First of all, why do people shit on Raw? What's the main thing? What's the main reason why people shit on Raw?
See, that's the thing, right? I think that's objective too. I've been a fan of the Alexa Bliss storyline for so long, and I've tried to go on rants on my show to Turbo Wrestling Takes Podcast, TOB Takes Podcast on all platforms, TOBTakesPodcast.com. You know, a mid-episode shout out. No, look, seriously, I've defended that, and people say it's shitty, it's for fucking, you know, kids and pedophiles because she's playing a little girl. And I'm like, but if you like listen, pay attention, you can kind of see like exactly what this is. And the Eva Marie stuff, they're like, oh, well, fuck Eva Marie. Like Mickey James gets released, but Eva Marie's here. Yeah, well, watch the story. And the story is going to have a superstar in Doudrop / Piper Niven when this is done. That's the story that they're telling. Eva Marie is doing her job. She's getting you to hate her. But the way they take it in the smart marky way is, oh, well, this is turn off the TV heat. Well, that's your problem because you're turning it off at a point where you could see something that you may not like, but something in it that you do, such as Piper Niven. I'm a huge Piper fan. When I started Mae Young Classic, I was like, oh my God, she looks like no one else I've ever seen. And she is incredibly athletic and knows how to wrestle. She does some really cool shit. Cut to what this is. I'm like, okay, if you turn off the TV every time Eva Marie's on, you missed fantastic matches with Piper Niven and Naomi, Asuka. You know, you're going to turn the TV off for that? those are kind of the things they complain about. The stuff I complain about, the fucking crowd loves. I can't stand Drew McIntyre. But how crazy did they go at SummerSlam for Drew McIntyre? So it's a mixed bag, man. It's a mixed bag.
It's become the done thing to shit on Raw now. Yeah. But like, you know, I think my point
is a popular sort of thing, isn't it? Like, you know, shit on Raw. Let's start.
That's my point. I think that's my point. I don't think they're doing anything particularly.
I like Bobby Lashley as champion. I think he's a great champion.
They're not doing anything particularly bad, but I just think it's become the done thing to shit on Raw just because of a certain aspect of the wrestling community. Feel like it's the done thing. And a lot of those guys, they talk about, you know, turn off the TV heat, but they'll happily fucking back the Young Bucks every fucking week and make out they're incredible. You know, get the fuck out of here. You know what I mean? Don't talk to me about turn off the TV heat and then gas up the Young Bucks. Fuck off, man. You know, like I say, I don't particularly think that Raw's doing anything that majorly bad at the moment. I don't, you know, SmackDown is the better of the two, but I don't think Raw's fucking turned the TV off bad. But sometimes, again, I watch AEW and I'm like, what the fuck is going on here, man? You know, so is that just my opinion? I don't know.
I know your latest episode, Bishop, was about NXT, but just quickly on here, what of NXT? You know, there's obviously a slight rebrand into it. You know, people were shitting on the logo, like, oh my goodness, like, give it a break. Like,
I think they saw my T-shirts and said, "Fuck it, let's mash it together and throw it on a logo." But they're letting me know I need a green one. So,
I saw a meme where it was like Triple H on the phone. And he's like, "Hey, Tony, did you see what I did to the NXT logo?" Yeah. When are you going to sign me? It's just fucking hilarious, man. I love a meme. But yeah, I mean, I love NXT, man. I like NXT UK as well. I actually bought an Enfield Town Football Club shirt with the NXT UK logo on it. I had to get that in there because, you know, I saw Triple H do the announcement and stuff. And Enfield Town, for anyone who doesn't know, it's quite near my club that I support anyway, that part of London. And you know, the fact that fuck off. Jordan's only pissed because my team are like got a perfect record, 3-3 wins, and Jordan's team, who is actually our natural rival, we shouldn't like each other, to be honest. Like, but their team have got 0.0 wins, 0 goals. Jordan, right?
Yeah, 0.0 wins, 0 goals.
So we've both got 100% records.
We're -9 on the goals as well. Like, it's pretty bad.
But yeah, anyway, like Enfield Town is like a supporter-based club, you know, so it's like a supporter-owned club. And the performance center for WWE NXT UK is in Enfield. So it's one of them things. I had to support Enfield Town. I had to just buy the shirt, partly because it's a football shirt, which I love football shirts. I've got so many of them. I think they're incredible. And the fact that there's one with NXT UK on it is just even better. I had a real chubby on for that. So, yeah, I had to buy it. But NXT, I really enjoy what they're doing. But I think what needs to be done in like wrestling wise is going with NXT. They do focus more on the wrestling, I think, more than maybe the storylines. They've had a few storylines that have been going on for quite a while, I think, and that were getting a bit stale. Like, I don't know, man. Like, I like Adam Cole and I like Kyle O'Reilly, but there was only so many more of their matches that I could watch them beat the snot out of each other. Not that makes them individually bad or something like that, but I do think there needs to be new stuff injected into NXT. The fact that Samoa Joe's got the belt now maybe is a bit more of a shuffle. Do you know what I'd like to see? I'd like to see our man, you know, get involved again. The former commissioner of NXT.
Okay.
I'd like to see him just get pissed off. And, maybe him and Samoa Joe have a match. There's my fantasy book.
See Regal get tough.
Regal and Samoa Joe having a match. Yeah. That, for me, man, I would definitely...
I'm totally here for Walter and Joe, but I'm...
Oh, of course.
Walter and Dragunov again, killing it at TakeOver. I was sitting there in amazement. I didn't watch it live. I got up the next morning and thought, right, it was just me and my youngest. So I was like, he's on his iPad chilling out. I can watch NXT Takeover with like a little bit of like time. Like, and I sat and watched it. I was like, fuck, this is
But do you think that Walter's going to get pushed to NXT now?
No.
You don't think so?
I don't. There's a lot of, and this is more like, this is chatter and stuff, but it's like he doesn't want to be in the US full time. He doesn't want to be a part of. He doesn't want to be moving up as such. You know, well, not moving up, but moving on to stay in the US full time. I think he's very happy it being in Europe. And
all right, Walter, we
yeah.
get you, bruv. You want to do that, but the fact is, yeah,
too good to stay there, man.
He's too good. Honestly, I don't mean that. Like, there's nothing more he can do in NXT UK. I do believe that, you know, if Walter turned up and challenged someone, you know, like your Samoa Joes, you know, like Cross, if he was still there or whatever. Can you imagine, you know, Cross and Walter having a match? What would that look like? You know,
absolutely.
You know, you've got to think about. I mean, and I think maybe WWE maybe are having that conversation with him, saying, "Look, bro, like, you know, we would love to see you do this here, do more." You know, because Walter is that kind of solid, strong style wrestler who him and Samoa Joe, Walter and Samoa Joe having a fucking drag out match would just be incredible.
You know, I tell you, to bring it back to Raw real quick, I think the way you just phrased that, Chris, made me think, if you take a guy like Walter and you go just Walter, right? And then you got your other level players, no offense to Ricochet or anything like that, but they're not really doing anything. But if you take Walter and you go, okay, look, from it's now SummerSlam until WrestleMania, this is the story we are writing for you. And you get every opponent that's going to be there on board and play the game. That's what you do with Raw. Is you take people like Walter, like Karrion Kross, whoever, Tony Storm, anyone else. You start writing these stories to push them that level. They like what they did with Braun Strowman when he first started his thing, where he would, you know, take on enhancement talent for a couple weeks at a time, but it got too cartoony. You know, it was never, because I mean, we remember wrestling in the 90s, right? Right before the Attitude Era. It was, I mean, watch a Raw from 93, 94, or whenever it started. I was in 93, right? End of 93 or maybe beginning of 94.
Yeah.
93, yeah, not beginning of
93. So
beginning of 93.
Yeah. So it was, here's your main attraction. Your champion's barely ever on TV, but doing that Jumbotron promo, right? And it was like 3 matches with enhancement talent. It was to display how good their roster was. You can still do that. People clamoring for Naomi on TV, believe it. I'm here. I love her. I think she's athletic as fuck. I would love to see Bianca to be as good a wrestler as Naomi is. You know, and we don't have that yet. But how do we get that? Well, by seeing them on TV wrestling. I get it too, right? We're in this showmanship era, this YouTube era where you need to create clicks and shit like that. But there's a section of fans out there that want to see people wrestle. And if you see Walter come on and he has a promo, one of the things that drives me fucking nuts, they're walking to the ring and then what they said earlier in the day, and here's the promo about what they're going to do. No, do the shit Mean Gene style. Right on the ramp, right in Gorilla. Do the, Walter, how do you feel about your next opponent? And he doesn't say anything. He just stands there with his hands behind his back and then walks out. Like, how do you not feel like, oh my God, he's going to fucking kill him? Mm-hmm. Instead of he's walking down and he's going to go, oh, well, this, that, and then, you know, it's so, if they decided to write those kinds of stories, I think Raw could get a little bit better when they focus in on characters. And it doesn't even have to lead to Walter winning the title or Tony Storm winning the women's title, but just give us something to invest in week by week. As far as NXT goes, I would love Walter to stay. I mean, again, I saw the same report. I don't dig into those things, but that type of headline made so much sense to me because I couldn't imagine doing that. I couldn't imagine packing up everything because I believe Nakamura brought his whole family over here and was like, fuck it, man. We're moving. I'm basically retiring while working for WWE. We're all living over here. No big deal, right? And if Walter's not willing to do that, I completely understand. I don't know what his family life is. You know, married, family, gay, straight, I don't know. Whatever Walter is, he is, and his decisions are going to be them. And if he has that kind of decision that he has to do to make that kind of move, then hey, by all means, it's not for me to care. I every time I watch Walter, I go, I cannot believe I don't watch more of this guy. He is incredible. He's almost perfect. He really is almost perfect as a wrestler. Watching the Dragunov 2, watching that match the second time, I still don't fully understand their style of wrestling because there's too much realism to it. It's too like on the nose without being a real fight. And I'm like, I'm too caught up in the actual hit than what the full complement of what's going on, if that makes sense.
That's a very British European style that has gone on for decades. Like, something we did speak about with Regal and Finlay going in.
Regal, yeah.
Yeah, like they just, as well as, the wrestling stuff, they were laying it on pretty thick. They were going in heavy with their shots. There's even a couple of punches. Even when Dave Taylor came down, he laid one in. It's just sometimes how they are.
But you've still got guys like Dave Taylor working for WWE. Yeah. You've got these guys that, like, British wrestlers are ingrained in the wrestling business, and that style, that kind of, I call it strong style, but it's not. It's like the kind of your realistic kind of, if wrestling was real, kind of, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah, that's how I phrased it too. Like, I was on the fence about calling it British strong style because, number one, I don't know what it is, right? I don't actually know what British strong style is. I get it, right? It's guys from the UK beating the shit out of each other. Like, yeah, that's the way you dumb it down, right? But like in realism, like, I didn't want to call it something. And then again, rewatching it, it's not as technical as what Pete Dunne will do, but there was so much technique to it. Like, it was flying by how, smart I am to wrestling, how keen I am on UFC. Like, even like the wrist locks and shit that Dragunov was doing, I'm like, I don't even see this shit in fucking jiu-jitsu matches. Like, what the fuck is going on? And it was just this brutality masterpiece of awesomeness. And I still don't fully understand it. So I would love nothing more than to watch more Walter. I would love for him to do the fucking, just ring up David Beckham and be like, hey man, remember when you played for the Galaxy for, what was it, like 10 years, $250 million? Like, was that the right thing? He's like, yeah, man, take the fucking money. Like, whatever it would take to get Walter here on a regular basis, having these kind of matches, and fuck it, man, put an opt-out clause in. The second he hates a booking, fucking go back. We would all understand.
Dude,
I understand because he is so close to fucking perfect, man.
Yeah, I would
so close to perfect.
And that is what maybe Raw needs as well, like some kind of, because that kind of style of wrestling, people might assume. I don't know if this is more of an issue with the higher ups in WWE. Like, no, they won't want to see that. They want to see this, or they want to see this. Like, give them a taste of it, man. Like, even like say, give Walter a short-term contract of going on to maybe Raw or whatever, and saying, right, this is what we're going to do for 6 months. We're going to work up to this. We're going to let you, we're going to do, because they've got to push him because he's a fucking beast. So that would be incredible. That is what I take. I mean, I watched NXT Takeover and I enjoyed it. I did enjoy it. But the Walter Dragunov match, just when I watched it, I was like, man, why is Walter not in the fucking States, man? Why is he not, this similar to why are we not watching more of this guy?
Yeah.
And maybe for whatever reason, like you say, he doesn't want to leave the UK because he's got complacent, I think. And that can be an issue because what's he going to do now? I mean, he can't just keep feuding with Dragunov for the next, a year. And then
I think they might have.
Can I ask you guys a question? Can I ask you guys a question about Walter?
Yeah.
Objectively, because I don't know if you actually. I mean, let me be, a bit culturally insensitive here. He's a UK guy. He's a Europe guy. I don't know if you guys have seen more. I'm assuming you have because that's what we do. I assume you guys see more of him because he's based over in the UK, in Europe. What's his ceiling? When I watch him, I think his ceiling is honestly maybe even undefined at the moment. But what do you think his ceiling is?
Me personally, I think I think he's got championship written all over him, but that's just me. That's not, because he works over here, because he does stuff in Europe. I think he's such an imposing figure. I think the way he carries himself, I just think he's got that vibe that is championship. And I'm not talking about US championship, Intercontinental championship. I mean, big championship, big time matches. My own brain would love to see, Brock Lesnar, Bobby Lashley, all of those guys mixing it with Walter. Like, it's just how
100% all day long.
He could easily be seen as equal to these guys. It's, if you put him in, like you said, with Ricochet or something, have him squash Ricochet on a pay-per-view one time and see if Walter gets over. See if the fans react to it. I would. It's a question that was posed on a Twitter space. Would you take one shot from Walter or 10 of the shots from Sheamus? And I can't remember what you picked.
Oh, I think I'm one and done.
Yeah.
I think I'm always one and done. Yeah, don't hit me 10 times.
One and done. You need to get that blue chew, bro. Anyway, Walter, I'm with Jordan all the way on this. I think get him on the big screen, so to speak. Get him ragdolling the fuck out of people and just squashing the shit out of them. And let these guys have, get a few digs in. Obviously, we're not talking like 1990s squash, because right. Walter is happy to take a few digs. Let them really go stiff on him, and just let him just bounce off him, and let's see what the crowd say, because WWE has always been a space where the big, tough, strong guys can always do well. He is a kind of Brock Lesnar kind of character where he can literally just run through a roster if he wants to, and he's technically gifted. He does have the holds to chain wrestling. He can do that shit. And he does look like one of these old school, tough guys, heels, because he's got that kind of Eastern European, Russian-esque kind of heat that he could especially garner in America, in the stadiums and stuff like that. I don't want to compare him to Miro because he's not like that. I think he is more pure a character than Miro maybe, but I think let him go. They've got to try it, suck it and see, as they say. They've got to just give people a taste of it and just see what people say. Let him do something. Get him over there. Just speak to him. Triple H, I know you listen to the podcast. Yeah, we know this, right? Paul, Pablo, as we call him. Yeah, have a word with Walter. Like Bishop says, do anything you can to just convince him for a short while. And if David Beckham was to ring him, it'd be like, oh, yeah, Walter, mate, take the money, give it a go. And Beckham's doing all right for Gary Neville's team because he's spent money, hasn't he? He's invested in the team in America now. That Gary Neville.
I don't know.
Bill Neville, yeah, into Miami.
Bill Neville, into Miami. That's right, into Miami. Into Miami.
A lot worse than it is.
No, into Miami, we're doing really shit, and then Beckham's got involved and lifted them up, and I think they're like they're doing really well anyway. So you've got to give it a go. They've got to get Beckham on the phone to him, like you say, and just someone's got to just sit him down and just say, look, it is getting a bit stale now. I think he can't. He has hit that glass ceiling in the UK. Even if they sent him to, I think if they're going to take him to America, he does need to go to Raw rather than NXT, because it would be.
I mean, just imagine him and Sheamus beating the shit out of each other for 35 minutes. I mean, and I think Sheamus today is doing some of the most incredible performing he's ever had. He is fully there for his opponent, and his offense, not just brutal, but so crisp, man. He makes almost no mistakes. And I know we were marking out crazy for that fucking headbutt on the spaces, man.
Yeah.
That headbutt to Damian Priest. Jesus.
I mean,
he said welcome to the big leagues with that one.
Yeah. Well,
yeah,
we are marks for British wrestlers, and we know that when you train in British wrestling, you learn that technical style. You learn that the first things we're learning are like a chain wrestling. No one's teaching people fucking hurricane ranas, none of that kind of shit. It's literally like you're learning wrist locks, elbow locks, ankle locks. In it, Jordan, like the first, literally, we were doing drills it was chain wrestling. It was all, that kind of stuff, and we're just the sucker.
For weeks, seriously, like not one punch was thrown for
not one punch,
maybe even a couple of months.
100%, man. It was all, no, this is what we need to learn. This is what you need to get down. This is how we build up from the ground up. And all these guys, Sheamus trained with people that we trained with. I know for a fact that someone that we trained in his gym, Len Davis, had a lot of, Sheamus spent a lot of time in around him. So we know these guys, that how it's all been built up, how they train is all, it's a different kind of style. I won't say it's like the dojo style in Japan. It's not quite as brutal as that, but it's very much focused on the technical realism of it, and not the catch as catch can.
Yeah.
Do you get what I'm saying? Like the more
absolutely.
showy kind of stuff. Like, and that's what I think, maybe fucking inject Raw with a little bit of that, with Walter, and who knows, man, who knows what could be.
I'm gonna move this on, because this is a subject that I genuinely want to hear what the pair of you have to say about this.
Oh boy.
And we are heading to Jacksonville.
Uh-oh.
Yes, home of the Jags. Let's hope they get fucked up this year.
And the best Chris in podcasting, your best friend lives there, right?
Yeah, man. TK all day.
Yeah, I got some stuff on TK coming, but let's start with the biggest story the whole thing is CM Punk. Yeah, he came back. Yes, it was a big pop. Blah blah blah. There was nothing wrong with pop. It's great. Is it worth it long term? Is he going to stick around for 4 years? Is he going to be putting over, Pac, or I don't know, someone? I'm pretty sure he's not even putting over Darby at this show coming up. Is he putting over, I don't know, Ricky Starks, someone like that?
He's not there for that, bro. He's not there for that. I'm sorry to jump in. He ain't there for that, man. Like, he's come back. Tony Khan is a fucking CM Punk mark. Punk is going to have the title real soon. End of story. He's not there to put anyone over. He ain't there to do no fucking jobs. He's there to push the company forward and be the face of that shit for however long it lasts. People are happy right now. They got their pop. They were correct in their evaluation that he was coming back. The dirt sheets and AEW worked together to create this narrative. Yes, it's not even like, it was more of a marketing exercise, the whole CM Punk thing. It was marketing. It was smart marketing. It was right. Let's release this. It's same with the, Brian Danielson. I think if he turns up in AEW, that's been a clever marketing tool, but are these guys really going to make a difference and bring up these other guys? Probably not. They're there to do their own thing. They're there to, have their own moments. I think they're here to have a second wind. It's the NWO all again. They are not there. CM Punk ain't putting no one over. Let me just say, he's not putting no. What is the point in him going there to lose? He's not there to lose, is he? Let's be honest. People got ice cream bars. They'll be happy for a little bit, but if he loses, they're going to be like, "Oh, fucking hell!" It's not gonna work, man. It's not gonna work. Sorry.
Yeah, I tell you, for a while I had this notion that I can convince people to keep the same energy, right? Oh, why is Goldberg here? Well, Chris Jericho's your champion. Oh, why is Brock Lesnar coming back when you could sign this person? Oh, well, you just brought back CM Punk. Like, you don't get to pick and choose what these companies do, right? I mean, look, I stopped going to Raw as a visitor or as a patron to Raw because I got to hear CM Punk chants and ECW chants, all shit that wasn't going to happen, right? ECW is not going to. If you chant ECW loud enough at a WWE show, did you know that all the graphics change to ECW and Paul Heyman comes out? Because that's what it sounds like they're trying to do, right? Like then Sandman comes down and he starts fucking crashing beers, or is that Sabu? I don't know. It's one of them, right? So when they do these things as fans, it's sacrifices from what I'm trying to watch. Now that's me as a cynical viewer, but it's also me as know that I'm not the only one. So I always hated all that shit, and it made me hate CM Punk. And then I got to listen to CM Punk on whether it's WWE Backstage or somebody's podcast where he's talking, never saying anything nice about the business, but always framing it as WWE is the bad guy. So that's part of your Raw question. JB, what's wrong with it? Well, it's shit on by former wrestlers who don't like WWE anymore. And now it's in the ecosystem to hate that kind of shit. So I'm just hoping, number one thing I'm hoping for with CM Punk being back is that they don't chant it at WWE shows anymore. That's my number one. Number two, what happens next, right? Punk's here. What happens next? We can talk about the pop and all that shit. Like you said, it was a marketing ploy. I said it too. I was skeptical on my show. I said, look, how many weeks is enough? How many weeks is enough that Punk is going to be here and he's not here? To where AEW fans go, okay, enough is enough. I'm not going to watch anymore because you're telling me this is going to happen and then it doesn't. And then they kept teeing it up perfectly for the Chicago pop. I get it. The moment was fucking incredible. To say that it wasn't orchestrated is, again, saying that you think you know what Vince is doing. You don't. But it is such a fact that it was in Chicago for a reason. They were saying it like, I blocked all dirt sheets. All of them. And I still knew Punk was coming. You know what I mean? It was such in the ethos of what people were talking about. It's just like the shit I was at the bowling alley earlier with the family. And this guy saw my Alexa Bliss shirt. It was like, hey man, do you watch AEW too? I was like, I really can't have this conversation. I was like, I try and I can't. He's like, oh, but what about that Judas thing? I was like, what do you mean? He's like, oh, when the crowd was singing everything. I was like, oh, when they said the week before that he can't walk out to it. And then they started posting the lyrics every day online so that everyone in the crowd would have the lyrics to sing to it. Like,
yeah,
like,
even
yeah,
Jericho
cool
said,
yeah, it was cool, but you're also making people do it, not having it organic. So, okay, the CM Punk chant or the CM Punk thing wasn't organic. It was orchestrated. It happened. It was dope. The promo, scatterbrained. Right? He even said he didn't think about it, didn't write it down, none of that stuff. He's thought about it for years, didn't know what he was going to say. He said everything to make sure the crowd was on his side. I get it. Promo 101, right? The next week, throwing digs at WWE again, shouts out his wife, tells the crowd, hey, the yes chant, that's somebody else's stick. You just got to be a little bit more patient. So he's even saying, hey, Daniel Bryan's going to show up, right? Okay. So hopefully the yes chants get filtered over to AEW too. And that shit don't happen in WWE anymore. I'm cool with that. Again, to my point, now saying all of this, at face value, this is what I see. I would still be an AEW fan today if Hangman beat Jericho for the title. And Hangman had the run. And Hangman lost the title in 2 months to an MJF who had a great feud with Cody, storyline-wise. If MJF then lost it back to Hangman because you built an organic story with two natural superstars that I've never seen before, right? What did Jericho's title run do? Oh, it still has him and MJF in a storyline for 2 fucking years. That's what that did. Then Moxley, hey, he ran it through the pandemic. It was what it was. There was nothing he can do. Now Kenny has it. And what is Kenny doing with that title? So my whole thing about wrapping it up this way is that I see this Punk situation the way I see everything else. Okay, cool. What's next? Because what has been next has been lackluster. I remember seeing Darby Allin when I first turned it on. I'm like, this guy's pretty good. He's way different than anything I've ever seen. I can get into it. Sammy Guevara, he's a young kid. He's got this look to him. He's an incredible athlete. What's next? Everything I invested in, nothing happens. I'm not a Punk fan. So if I turn on Punk and he beats Darby Allin, well, I'm not a Punk fan. And no, I don't want to see Darby Allin more because I can't trust that he's going to win in a situation he should. So when is it going to be enough that even, again, what if Punk has matches like Jericho? Are they going to do what they've been doing with Jericho? Oh, but it's fucking Jericho. Whoa. Like, the matches suck, man. The guy, he's hit one clean Judas effect, and it was off the top rope. And even then, it looked like Hoovy sold the shit out of it. You know? So, like, even his finish doesn't come off great, but they want to support this stuff so much, they let these things slide. If Punk has 5 bad matches in a row, oh, but we got CM Punk back. Is the response? When is enough enough? When is enough enough? If it works, great. If CM Punk comes back and he looks like fucking Kurt Angle and he has the charisma of fucking whoever, even CM Punk, because he gets people going, not me. I've never liked him. But if he looks like a second coming of AJ Styles, then maybe you can convince me to continue to watch. But I'm sorry. I put down the challenge. If Punk shows up in Chicago, that I would watch All Out and do a Twitter Spaces watch along. And then I got into some shit with some people on Twitter about AEW and how I see it. And they're like, oh, you're fucking wrong. And I'm like, not really. But you know what? I'm done. Because there's nothing good to say about AEW when I watch it. Because I see what's obviously wrong.
Well, again, like I said on our past episode, I think AED have blown their wad with CM Punk now. There's no more that they can do that will top the pop. Yeah, like that's it. There's no higher he can go. What's he going to do? Get the title, and then that's it. It's like an ego project for him coming back in this manner, I think, and it's a kind of ego boost for him, and it's also TK being able to say, look what I did. I was the one that brought CM Punk back to wrestling because he lost his smile. Do you know what I mean? So fucking yeah, I know JB, you love that one. So it's one of them where it's just a vanity project. It's not fucking, I don't think it's going to do any benefits to anyone on the roster of AEW.
Well, and that's the thing. I'm cynical because I've never seen something that made me keep watching CM Punk. That's me, right? So what would it take for me to tune in and continue to tune in? It would be really good matches, which are possible, really good matches. Regardless of outcome, storyline makes sense. And that's where we get into some trouble with AEW, is storyline making sense. Shouts to the dogs running through I don't know if you guys can hear that, but they're running through the dining room right now.
Okay.
Fucking dogs. But no, it's going to be really good matches. It's going to be sustained outcomes of storyline. And I don't know. I don't know if that can happen. He's in his mid-40s. And I said it on my show too. Most of the WWE guys who are putting on incredible work, they are the older guys. AJ Styles. I mean, Roman's probably the youngest of the best performers. JB, you said it. How great is Bobby Lashley right now? Guy's in his mid-40s. He's fucking incredible. So is it possible? Yeah, but are the older wrestlers in AEW the ones doing great work? No. The first time I tapped out on AEW was when Matt Hardy almost died. He takes that spear from Sammy Guevara. They call off the match. They restart the match. And, on Dynamite, whose fault was it? Matt Hardy was the only one taking shit for it? Like, you can't do that. So what's going to happen here? Dude, I don't know. I hope it works. But the last thing I need to see as a wrestling viewer is for it not to work and fans go, oh, but it's working.
JB, what do you reckon, bro?
Yeah, I got a few things like what they're not going to be at the pop in Chicago. So what next? They're only going to have him work matches in Chicago. Like, if my other thing about hometown pops is another thing, because is CM Punk going to be more over than Pac in Newcastle? No.
In Brittburg.
Yeah. I mean, Same thing. Is in Pittsburgh, is he going to be as over as Britt Baker? Maybe. Who knows? But those pops are going to get less and less loud each time he comes out when he's not in Chicago. What happens when he goes to North Carolina and they're, big Omega marks over there? Like, I think his ego might take a bit of a beating when he's not the loudest cheered man in the room. And for me, that's why I don't think this will be as long term as everyone thinks. I think he might grind out a year or two, and then, which is why I've got respect for Jericho, because Jericho will keep going. You know, as bad as those matches can be, and they have been bad.
They have been bad.
I will message Chris on a weekly basis when, you know, Thursday rolls around in the afternoon and I'm trying to watch Dynamite, and it is fucking terrible.
To the point where he needs an IV most of the time. Like, it's fucking, you know, and we're not just saying, because even
I'm messaging Chris for support at this point.
Yeah, emotional support.
Like, it shows it's so bad.
Mop his
how do you guys think it works? How do you think it can be good? Or do you think there's no chance it can be good because it's all downhill from here? Is there a way to even bring that back?
He's got to put over a couple of people, Punk has, in particular, in that way. And as far as the rest of the show goes, you know, there's, oh man, I mean, we already know that the roster is pretty swollen. They've got 3 or 4 shows now. Was it 4 shows?
Yeah, I think so, because the 2 on YouTube.
Dark Elevation, Rampage.
Dark Elevation is not a wrestling show. It is a squash match extravaganza. Okay. It is fucking, and not even in a good way. It's like, so, I mean, you can have a way of showcasing your talent that doesn't involve them squashing people in 5 seconds. You know, it is really bad. Like, you can have squash matches, you can have enhancement talent, you can have local guys coming in, but in the way that they did it in AEW Dark Elevation, dude, it was really like, it was just really poorly done. It was just, it was fucking so like carny. It was terrible. Like, it really was like, interview with them. Yeah, I'm gonna fucking do this. Then they're in the ring, squash the shit out of them in 2 seconds. Yay! You know, it was so bad. You can do it in a better way, like you're saying, Bishop. You know, we can have enhancement talent. You can showcase how good your guys are, but it's all dependent on the way that you do it and the way on. Have you ever watched the Dark Elevation?
No.
Fuck, dude. Honestly, man, take some Prozac and watch it, right? It is, you'll need the Prozac probably 20 minutes in. It will literally, like, I can't explain it. It was just so like predictable. It was just so, I can't explain it. It was terrible. It was, and I've watched a few Dark Elevations. I've watched a few Darks. I have where I work, I run my own business. So if it's a bit quiet, I've got my telly in the corner and I can watch YouTube or whatever, you know, even when it's busy and I should be working, sometimes I'm just fucking watching wrestling. But anyway, you know, so I can watch it and, you know, I'll chuck it on YouTube and just see what's happening and see what new guys are coming through. And, you know, AEW is they're very close to being what they say WWE is and having to release a load of people because they've signed a lot of talent. They've got a lot of people on their books. They've not got a lot of quality TV time. You know, Rampage is only an hour and it has like 3-4 matches on it at max. They really don't have, and we've said this again before, they don't have the infrastructure to support that many top tier big stars. They don't have the infrastructure to give equal TV time to your Omegas, to the Elite, you know, to Brian Danielson, you know, CM Punk, you know, MJF, which he don't even get near enough time as he should. You know, I love Maxwell. I think they're fucking dropping the ball over and over with it. Like, I want to see MJ. You know what? CM Punk, right? I know you probably listen to the podcast. So what you should do, Phil, is have MJF come out and just literally just lay into him week after week and just be like, yeah, you know, just be real. Let MJF be real. This is my fantasy booking moment. Let MJF just come out there and go, look, dude, you've had your moment. You had your Chicago pop. Everyone got their fucking ice cream bars. Great. Yay. Now down to the real business. You're a fucking has-been. I'm the future. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? Like, this is what they need to do. They need to realize what they've got. I wouldn't be surprised if MJF does get signed by WWE. I mean,
Well, he's in the context of what people think Raw is. He's perfect for Raw, right? Because he's been rinse and repeat. Every time he's on TV, he's doing the same thing over and over again for the last 2 years.
Yeah.
It's a little bit mizzy, isn't it?
Yeah, but yeah,
with an edge, and I don't mind it.
Yeah, with an edge. I'm here for it, man. I think that MJF done correctly would really just be laying into all these old stars, the Stings, and don't get me wrong, I love Sting. I've got, I'm not saying this to fucking knock anyone down, but when you've got 60-year-old guys, the 45-year-old guys coming back, you've got this young, hungry guy who, he
knows sold a table spot. That's it. I'm done. Like,
yeah, I mean,
got up and just started beating his chest or whatever. I'm like, nah, man, this is not for me.
He watched an old Hawk match where he no-sold the DDT and he thought, fuck, man, I'm forgetting we can do this. Let me fucking no-sell that shit. No, I mean, AEW is they don't have the infrastructure yet to support the roster. So I saw someone on an AEW group, and I said this in the last show. They said that AEW has the best roster in wrestling history, and they meant it. It weren't even ironic. They weren't even being like, they have the best roster in wrestling history. Of course we disagree, but for a gazillion fucking reasons, man. But even that mindset goes to show you what we're up against, and the fact that AEW can continue to just do whatever they want, and it ultimately doesn't matter. There's no logic, there's no reason. Their core fan base is always going to just be ride or die. So us having these conversations about how AEW can do this, or what are they going to do with CM Punk, and what are they going to do with Bryan Danielson and all this shit, it ultimately don't matter, because their core fan base is always going to be there for whatever they shove down their throat, and they're just going to love it.
This is the worst point.
So go ahead, JB. Sorry,
man. Like Hangman Page being built up as far as he can go, and then he gets put in the fucking freezer. He's that cold. They job him, and I'm sorry, this is a job. They job him on TV in a tag match of all things, and that's it. He's gone. Like there's no like, and this is the point of, the ride or dies. You're essentially, TK is pissing in my water and telling me it's orange squash, and it's like, and I no longer trust that process. QT Marshall coming out on my TV every fucking...
You love him.
And I'm like, this guy, he's the director of creative or something? He's booking him fucking self into TV spots that he does not deserve.
He's the Kevin Sullivan of AEW?
Yeah. Fuck me, Kevin Sullivan. It could be any one of those bookers in the 80s or 90s that thought they were the fucking star. And, oh man, if I could skip a match All Out, it would be that one. Like, I mean, I asked you in the Q&A, are you going to buy All Out? And how are you feeling about that now? Still no?
No, definitely no. Definitely no. No, because again, and I may or may not. It depends on how my Saturday or Sunday night is going. I may or may not do the whole, click, click, click. Oh, I found it type of thing. Just to see, because I've said this again. Like, I have no problem liking more wrestling. I don't have a problem with that.
Same.
I do a podcast because I like wrestling. And honestly, in 2021, we are allowed to say, I like wrestling and I think it's fucking cool. Yeah. Because I mean, we all went through it in the 90s and early 2000s where like, oh, that's lame. Even when it was at its hottest. Now there's like a new appreciation for what it is. And I think it's because we're all behind the curtain a little bit. But the more they put in front of us that we can't see behind the curtain is actually when it's better. And everything AEW goes is not, man, there's no fucking curtain. Fuck that. Fuck the curtain. I call out the Young Bucks all the time for missing the Meltzer driver. And they're like, oh, we missed it. Hey, but we pinned them. Like, that's stupid. Stupid.
The thing that annoys me about AEW is there is no curtain and everything is so transparent, but yet they still, like JB saying, they're trying to piss on our heads and tell us it's raining, and they're still trying to pretend that it's real and that it's legit, and they've got rankings and all this shit. So in one hand, they're telling us everything that's going on, and you've got the Young Bucks in their bio saying about, oh, how many fucking finishers can we do on this kid or whatever, you know, all that fucking marky, smarky shit. And then on the next hand, they're trying to pretend that it's legit and that it's all real. And it's like, you can't, it's one or t'other.
So there's a good one. So when they did the Space Jam thing, which I believe that was episode 100 that we were watching for Dynamite, and or maybe it's just that I don't even remember. Yeah, I think it was. Yeah. Anyway, they missed all that stuff. I called it out in one of our group chats, and they're like, "Oh, you just hate them because you're supposed to. You're getting worked." I'm like, no. If they do 150 super kicks every single match, but every super kick isn't telegraphed, every super kick means something, every super kick leads to the next thing, then the match makes sense. And I can't say I don't like them because they suck. I can say I don't like them because they're assholes, but man, can they wrestle. And that's not what we get. No. At least what I see. And when I call that out, I'm just getting worked. No, I'm not getting worked. I know how to get worked. Roman does it to me every fucking Friday. I see Roman, I'm like, man, that guy's got some shit. Then he's like, this, that. Even when he did the missionary line, I laughed. And Cena comes out, and I'm like, yeah, Cena's going to whoop his ass. I'm like, son of a bitch, I got worked. Because I recognize the good guy comes, and I feel better. And I'm like, oh, shit, I got worked. That's what this is supposed to be. So when the Young Bucks do it, again, if they hit, when they did the slam dunk Meltzer driver, right? They missed the dunk. They missed the driver. And the guy still has to sell the whole time as if it happened to him. Yeah. That's not me hating and getting worked. That's me not liking what happened because they missed everything. And they make me look like a fool for trying to pay attention, and their opponent look like a fool for allowing him to stay that way. That's the kind of shit I'm talking about. I don't care if I hate the Young Bucks because they win in a bullshit way. I don't mind that. But it doesn't look good. You can see every move coming. So I don't like them because I think they suck. If they were good, then I would like to say, oh, I don't like them right now, but man, can they wrestle. There's a big difference.
Yeah, I mean, the Bucks for me are turn the TV off sort of heat. It's like, I just don't care. Like, it's been too bad for me to think that I'll give them another chance. I'll give them another chance. I'll give them another chance. And they, you know, it's bad for me. Like, I just can't. I just think, why am I putting myself through this again and again and again? Like, I've no problem with Kenny Omega. I know he has good matches and stuff, but you know, some of that stuff does like leave a bad taste when it doesn't make sense. Like they beat the young lad in the 6-man, Dante. I can't remember his name. Yeah. Like, he didn't need to be the one to take the beating. Like, it was egomania running wild.
Well, wasn't he the most over the week before? Wasn't he the one that they were all chanting about the week before, and that's all we heard for a week was how great that kid did?
And this is the thing.
Beat out of him the following week.
Yeah. The Bucks ain't putting no one over. Yeah. Kenny Omega ain't putting no one over. Chris Jericho literally had to have his fucking arm broken to fucking put over MJF to a point. But he put over MJF in the final match. But all 5 fucking labors or whatever made him look like a real tough guy. You know, so really, is he really putting him over? He
look like that against Wardlow. Like,
you get what I'm saying? So,
and let me. I do want to put this out there for anyone listening who listens to you guys but doesn't listen to me. I don't want to come out as if I just want to bash AEW. I want to give a prime example on how I view specifically the Young Bucks. When AEW first launched, the Young Bucks were in a feud with the Lucha Brothers for the AAA Tag Team Championships before the AEW Tag Championships were even a thing, right? The very first match they had on an AEW program, I watched with the sound off, and I go, everybody was missing their spot. Why are people missing their spots? They're doing cool shit. Why is everyone missing their fucking spot? This is crazy. Looks stupid. I watched it back with the sound on, and the commentary is saying during the entire match that the Lucha Brothers just traveled in from Mexico. They've been wrestling X amount of days straight. They must be exhausted. And as I watch it with the commentary, I go, this match is beautiful. They actually worked me to thinking like they were able to wrestle offbeat. You know what I mean? So like they worked it to be able to wrestle offbeat. I said, that's fucking brilliant. The next match, when they all had the time to rest, looked the same exact way. And they were also, this was supposed to be the big blow off and the Young Bucks win the AAA Tag Team Championship. I'm like, I don't know what, it was the same match, but the commentary wasn't saying that they're all tired. These guys have been wrestling for like, and I think in storyline before AEW started, Young Bucks and Lucha Brothers were going for like a couple months. So they should know each other in and out. They should be so synchronous in what they do. But no, it was Young Bucks are doing a spot, Lucha Brothers doing a spot, Young Bucks do a spot. And it was just back and forth of who gets to do what, instead of them building something together. I'm out. So from that point on, I was like, okay, well, here's the Young Buck match. What happens? Oh, same shit. Never mind. Oh, look, there's the Meltzer driver. Hey, another super kick coming. Oh, BTE trigger. Like, I see all this stuff. It's right there. And so when they had the opportunity, I was in because they did something I've never seen before. They wrestled off beat on purpose. At least that's what commentary said. And then I watched it again. I'm like, oh, no, they just wrestle off beat. So I don't want people to think that I shit on it just to shit on it, but I give everything an opportunity and it just doesn't land. It doesn't land.
Yeah, that's so that's is that a no for All Out then? All three?
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, most likely.
Chris,
most likely.
No.
Man, I'm the same as Bishop, man, and we say this every single week. We don't want people to think that we just want to shit on AEW, because when AEW started, I'm, as much as anybody, had that fucking boner thinking, yeah, dude, another wrestling company is going to mix things up. It's going to have a mix of young guys. It's going to have some older guys. It's going to be able to hopefully fill the space and of what maybe a WCW or a TNA in its heyday kind of did. It will give us something else to watch. It can never be a bad thing when the guys and gals have got somewhere else to work. I was excited as anybody else. I buy their merchandise. I've bought their figures. Action figures, not toys. So I've bought the rings. I've bought the action figures. I want them to succeed so bad. But what the problem is, that I think maybe their intentions when they first came into it were, we're going to be a place where other guys can come in and we can build up this young talent and we can be different. What has happened, either inadvertently or it's just what happens, is when you have a booking committee that is made up of active roster wrestlers, you're always going to get the guys that are saying, yeah, but maybe I'll just keep going over. Maybe I'll just hold on to the belt another week.
That doesn't work for me, brother.
They got dusty. It's like we had an interview with Chris Hamrick, and it was he said something to Alex Shane, weren't it, about him keeping the belt, and he's like, oh, who's writing this, Dusty? So it's the similar thing. You've got, and to be fair to him, Cody Rhodes, he hasn't actually, he's written himself into storylines, but he hasn't given himself the gold. And if anything, we've spoken about this in a previous thing.
TNT title for a bit.
Yeah, but I would be happy to see Cody come in and fucking take it off Omega. I'd be happy all day long.
Well, Cody, I say this every time I turn it on, and sorry, JB, to cut you off, but every time I turn it on and I see Cody, only thing that comes to my mind is, man, Cody loves himself some Cody, man. He gets these entrances that are fucking pomp and circumstance out the ass. But something like that, a go-go build, where they did this thing where they had the opportunity to have a go-go come out of that being a fucking superstar.
Yep.
He lays on his back.
They fucked it up.
Has he been anywhere since?
About to make.
Oh, I'm sorry, JB. I'm sorry.
Cool,
no, but
I'm sorry. I took the British point. Sorry.
You get it. No, but the thing is, we did a whole fucking episode.
I know. I heard it, man.
We did a whole fucking episode about this could be great. This could be amazing. A go-go could come through this looking like a fucking superstar. And we really hope it happens. And JB, what did they do?
They did what we figured they would do. And
what's the opposite of what Jericho does, right? Again, sorry to cut you off. I'm just, it's all hitting me.
You're the guest. You speak.
Oh, I appreciate that. I have my own show where I ramble for fucking an hour and a half by myself. TWTakesPodcast.com, TWTakesPodcast.com/TWTs. Terrible Wrestling Takes Podcast, anywhere podcasts are found. But in all seriousness, it seems like what Jericho was doing is, let's build a feud, I'm going to win. Let's build a feud, I'm going to win. What if all Cody did, he came out with the same thing, all the sparklers, all this shit, and every single time he lost? How many stars are they building? You have the most eyeballs on the guy who means more to AEW than anybody else. The most eyeballs are on Cody. Cody lose. Now you have a fucking superstar. Because look, I said it back in Stardust days. But Cody's not bad. Cody can actually, like, as a technical wrestler, he's not bad. Now, going into the indies and all that stuff, he decided to incorporate some more shit off the ropes than he was doing before. And I was a natural fan from the beginning, from the early 90s. The natural Dustin Rhodes, big fan. Absolute big fan. He turned into Goldust, the character. I was, I don't know, maybe 8, 9 when that happened. I was like, this might be a little off to me. And then once I realized it was Dustin, I was like, oh, sacrifice the character in ring work. I'm a huge Dustin guy. Technically, maybe better than almost anybody. He might be like 3rd, 4th on the list as far as all-time technical wrestlers go. Cody's not as good, but he's pretty fucking close. He's really good, but that's not what his character does anymore. He's a superstar now. He does superstar shit. But man, if he fucking laid down for people, that's how you build stars. He never lays down until it's too fucking late.
Well, he has, yeah. He's as far as I'm, in my mind, he laid down for Brody and for Tommy End. What's he called now?
Malachi.
Yeah. I mean, that Agogo one hurts because Agogo had the tools. He had the most believable of finishers that could put anyone away. And he gives it to Cody, and Cody pops up. And it's like, oh fuck, no, this is gone. It's done.
Killed it.
I didn't even watch the match.
Like Hogan getting up.
I knew I couldn't watch it.
Yeah, it's man, that one hit hard. But this is what happens when you have people writing, booking themselves into it. They think that they're the best. They think that, well, they're not thinking they're the best. They think they're the most over. And I think, well, what they need to see is more of me. And again, you knew it was an ego-driven thing when he smashed up that throne.
The throne.
Yeah.
Sledgehammer. Yep.
It's it's a great metaphor of him destroying his, Triple H and those craps. Like, no, it's a piece of shit. Like, yeah. But that's the thing, and that's what it's going to be. Like, I wish I could say there was more for me that I liked about AEW. Like, I think Britt Baker's doing some really good stuff. I know it's not everybody's cup of tea.
Yeah.
But for me, I kind of like the work at the minute.
Well, Britt Baker, at least from what I've seen, she has more control. I'm sorry. Britt Baker has more control over. I'm sorry, more ownership over her character than almost anyone else on the roster. Because anyone who say the Young Bucks are supposed to be this, what is their character? Their character is just assholes, right? Who do it in front of us, and they're just assholes. They're silly, but there's no real character there. Britt's character, the way she does her promos, the way she carries herself, she has ownership over it. I don't think it's that great, but at least the ownership is there, so the believability is there. So I can buy into that. I think she's got a little bit of work to go as a wrestler, but you know what we're used to when it comes to female wrestling. The entire lineup on WWE for women's wrestlers, there's people in the bullpen like a Naomi, like an Ember Moon, who can out wrestle anybody in AEW. So, but I do hear there's great things that can be there, but we have to see them. And I'll make this point on your show because I say it enough on mine. AEW is a company backed by $1 billion. WWE is worth $1 billion. You have $1 billion infrastructure, $1 billion roster, $1 billion facilities, $1 billion travel, $1 billion equipment, $1 billion mindset, $1 billion worth. AEW has $1 billion to spend. So while they're buying these things and acquiring rosters and acquiring rings and ramps and video screens and cameras and sparklers when they should be something different, while they're acquiring these things, they still don't have a catalog or worth of $1 billion. Not only that kind of worth, but the worth of $3 billion contracts. WWE is worth a shit ton of money, and their infrastructure is what does that. The way they hire their writers and staffing and all that stuff. Hey, a lot of people think it's shit. A lot of it is, but a lot of it isn't. And that stuff that isn't is special compared to AEW. Can AEW get there? Sure, in time, with honesty, so they can fix those mistakes and get to that level. But nothing about them is worth $1 billion except for Daddy's pocketbook.
And Tony Khan only said on one of the wrestling journalists shows, maybe yesterday, today even, that they're acquiring more talent. Like, what, you can have another show? Is there going to be something else that we're not aware of? Like, you can't even put the talent you've got you can't put them all on TV at once, unless there's one big ass faction like an NWO and they all come out together. Like, it's just not possible.
But that's what they're trying to do with the factions, ain't it? It's all participation. Get all the faces on the screen at the same time, but no one goes over the fucking writers.
But now it's another case, yeah. Like you said, like, there was a lot of factions that they seem to sort of be fracturing a little bit. Like, there's a little less sort of, even the inner circle aren't all coming out together. What was the other one? Pinnacle. I think that's sort of like done and dusted, isn't it?
Yes, I don't know.
Yeah. But more talent doesn't make sense. You can't even put some of the bigger name talent that you've got on TV in something that lasts more than 45 seconds backstage.
Well, the question I raised is, if you're filming your YouTube shows for broadcast on YouTube, why can't they be filmed like a structured TV show and just broadcast a TV show on YouTube? Now, I don't know the logistics of making a TV show, but if you have cameras at a product, even if it has to be just one hard cam, I don't watch those shows. I don't know how they're shot, how many different angles they use. But if you're going to use, let's say, more than one camera, you have one camera for promos, one camera for in-ring work, and now you have a wrestling TV show. But like you guys said, it's glorified squash matches. It has nothing to do with actual storyline. But if you're going to sign all these people, then just like what Ricochet and Ali did on Main Event, they broadcasted through Twitter that they're going to have this, series of 3 matches, and do this whole thing and just build something up, have some type of story. If you're going to film it for YouTube or film it for Main Event, why can't you do it within storyline? I don't understand. I don't understand why you can't do that.
Because AEW doesn't have any fucking storylines. That's the problem.
Well, that too.
Like, they've got all the production down. They are trying to film it like a TV show for YouTube. And AJB, that's like kind of the point. But
yeah,
it's just fucking trash, bro. It's like, it is literally, there's so many matches on some of them. It's like they have to put
15 match show, like, it's like
15 matches on a fucking show, and then on the other shows they're putting the results in the bottom left hand corner. So and so defeated so and so, so and so defeated so and so. It's like, you can't keep up with it. It is just, they've got far too many things going on to know what's going on, and because they're all I don't know, they're all trying to get everybody involved all the time, and it's just not good. It's just not good. They don't, like I say, I keep saying it, they don't have the infrastructure. They don't have the different brands. They don't have a Raw, a SmackDown, an NXT, so they can have 3 different champions, 3 different tag champions. They don't have it. So to have a roster that size is fucking pointless.
But you mentioned infrastructure. You only have to look at the recent the Corbin skits. He's in Vegas. He's doing all this. It's being watched by a ton of people. So everyone sort of knows now that Corbin is no longer this broke guy. He's no longer Bum Corbin with the mustard on the shirt and everything like that. I mean, I think WWE's missed out on $1 million there with a replica Corbin mustard on the stained shirt. I think that was going to be a real killer. But AEW, there's something missing there. There's something missing. They're not promoting. They're not. I mean, yeah, it's not going to be a skit-based show, surely. But the marketing-wise, it's just not there.
Because they're pandering to, like we say, bro. They don't. They're pandering.
Every last tweet was CM Punk, like last week. Everything was about CM Punk. There's nothing else.
They're pandering to a very.
That's on the show.
No, they're pandering to that very small demographic. They don't give a fuck. They're pandering to that New Japan watching, Smart Mark, Meltzer reading, minority of wrestling fans, and those ones will be the ride and dies for AEW, but they're not looking to go global really with any kind. They're not looking to be WWE. Or if they are, they're not doing anything about it. Their focus is too narrow.
Shows in the UK.
What's that?
DK said he wants to do shows in the UK. It's like,
yeah, he'll do shows in the UK and people will go and see him. Chances are we'll probably go and see him, but only because why not? All right, because we're wrestling fans and we'll go and watch it, and they know that they can keep pissing on us and telling us it's raining, and we'll still go because fuck it, it's a wrestling show in the UK. It'll probably be production wise all right. We might get to see MJF call CM Punk Philip. Fuck it, let's give it a go. But
they know you're in the choir, Chris. They know you're in the choir. They want to hear you sing Judas.
I won't be singing Judas. I don't know the words. They didn't post them up enough times on Twitter.
Oh no. Yeah, I tell you, I look. I don't want to shit on AEW for the rest of the episode that we're doing here, but again, if the fan base in general was more honest the way they are honest about Raw. Yeah, there's parts of Raw that suck. There's parts of Raw that are really good. They're not honest enough about that. They're way too hype about AEW in any facet to go, well, part of this wasn't that good. Or when, again, one of the review shows I listened to, when the exploded barbed wire death match happened and it failed at the end. And again, Kingston took the heat for that, not Tony Khan. Tony Khan said, oh, maybe we shouldn't let Omega set up explosives. Oh, you're letting a wrestler set up explosives? Yeah, great storytelling. But at the end of that, they didn't take the heat for it, as in the company, and it was left on us as the audience to go, oh, well, I'm going to believe that the wrestler did, all of that stuff. And then when it didn't go off, the review show goes, oh, it was a terrible ending, but I'm not going to let that ruin my ranking of the show. I'm like, it's supposed to. Mm-hmm. That's what happens.
The whole point.
It's supposed to ruin your ranking. It's part of the show.
Well, they let Max Caster take the blame for that going out as well, when it should have been the editorial process taking the blame for it. It should have been Tony Khan saying, look, man, fucking hell, someone watched it and thought it was all right. Obviously, it wasn't all right. Sorry, folks. Do you know what I mean? But nah, the fucking Max Caster is no longer on TV, whatever. Hopefully he's working everybody, but, it seems like he's the one taking the fucking heat.
Well, that's the other thing is that, I do like a good conspiracy, but someone left that in there because they might not have liked Max Caster. They left it in and thought, fuck it, I'm sick of this guy and his raps. Leave it in, please, leave it in, and we'll deal with him afterwards.
Maybe he said something about someone that they didn't like in one of his previous ones.
Maybe.
I'm going to put my tinfoil hat on and go through all his previous raps and start breaking them down and see.
He rapped about Moxley, didn't he? And he rapped about...
Renee, right?
Yeah, he did.
Say something about Renee.
Brav, there you go, man. There's your fucking angle. There you go, dude.
Let's jump out of AEW for a minute. Something different. Logan Paul was on Raw doing his thing. Now, these Paul brothers seem to be money wherever they go. I'm not sure what the plan is for Raw, if it was just another little one-shot deal or something like WrestleMania but the numbers he did, as far as, the YouTube engagements, everything like that, on all the Instagram and Twitter and stuff, was massive. So it's a real sort of winner for WWE. Jake Paul's fighting tonight.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's fighting Tyron Woodley. I think he's probably going to smoke him, to be honest. I don't think Woodley's got... something was brought to my attention today that they're not testing them for anything.
Oh, geez.
So that could be a...
So Woodley's on the iGo Pro.
Yeah.
He's on the Bluetooth.
Yeah. I will shout Rob from Boxing Social for that. He did tell me a few things. And he also said that, how much money that things like Jake Paul and that bring in for these channels as well, which is wildly insane. And their influences are from pro wrestling because they've just taken everything to another level. Are you watching Jake Paul tonight? Are you bothered?
Again, if my Sunday night ends like a lot of my weekends where I'm up later than the rest of the house, and there's nothing on TV, I'll do the click thing to see if I can find it. And look, I did it with the Askren fight, but I called that shit out from the beginning. I said, in order to beat Jake Paul, who can fucking crack, he can hit.
Yeah.
He can fucking hit. You need footwork and power because you need to crack back. Askren had neither one of those. He had a bum hip. There's nothing he can do. Now, Woodley can crack, but he also hasn't cracked in 4 years. So it's very possible that Jake Paul watches Woodley too, which would be fucking incredible because the difference between Askren and Woodley is that Snoop can't call Woodley melted ice cream.
I mean, Chris, are you going to bother with it tonight? I know you probably got work in the morning.
I haven't got work in the morning. It's bank holiday Monday. So I haven't got work in the morning. But to be honest, like, I mean, I don't need to watch it, to be fair. It's one of them ones I'm not really fussed about it. I know it'll probably do numbers, but like you say, it's like their money, man. It's you know, even the involvement in WrestleMania and that is money, and it's all about creating that kind of hype and that buzz. And that's exactly what these boxing matches, I know people don't even like calling them boxing matches or whatever, you know, they're like show bouts or whatever you want to fucking call them, you know, it's prize fights. Yeah, you know, it's just something for people to talk about, which is cool, you know, fine, you know, it's you know, if I was a gambling man, I'd probably put a few quid on Paul to win. But
would you be interested in Logan Paul getting in the ring, in the WWE ring?
Yeah, man, 100%.
Yeah, Bishop, you're the same.
Yeah. I mean, look, the stunner he took at WrestleMania wasn't bad, and like he even said it afterwards on Twitter. Oh, the WWE crowd really hates me, and hey, it's natural
heat,
heel,
baby.
Right?
Yeah.
He's got those heels.
Instant heat.
His clip, I just looked it up right now. His clip on Twitter where he jumped in on Corbin getting talked to, 136,000 views. That's Twitter. A lot of people looking.
Yeah. Yes. I mean, like I said, the engagement thing that he gets, I mean, especially through that WrestleMania, you know, even just the one bump he took was insane. And I mean, WWE they're really good at noticing that sort of thing, and they know where the engagement is. Like AEW brought in, was it the
Gianni Amaponko? What's his second name? He's Greek. I should be able to pronounce it.
You should be able to, yeah. What's going on?
But yeah, Gianni, he was there in AEW.
On AEW, and like it hasn't really banged, has it? Like he's the NBA champion. Am I right?
Oh, Giannis, gotcha. Yeah.
Gianni,
Giannis Antetokounmpo.
Antetokounmpo, that's it.
Yeah, and that was in Milwaukee that he came out.
And it didn't hit. It's like, is he not?
Bro, AEW had fucking Shaq, fam. They had fucking Shaq, and they fucking blew it, bruv. He was the one that ended up going through the table. Are you dumb? Like, how are you going to have Shaq on there and not have him holding two people up by their throats and slamming them through double tables? How are you not going to have, like, how can you have Shaq and fuck it up? I'm done, bro. I'm like, literally, like, I have no more, like Bishop saying, like, how many more times? And like you're saying, mate, how many chances can you give a company to keep fucking you over all the time? Like, it's one of them ones where I want it to be good. I want them to be good, doing good stuff. But yeah, nothing's really hitting, man. Like, you know, they do try it with the celebrities. They do try and bring people in. But it's just not hitting, man. I mean, they've got fucking Jake the Snake Roberts on their roster, bro. You know?
Been on TV for a while, has he?
Nah. You know what I mean?
How captivating was he in the beginning? When he first came on and he was allowed to promo and get you to the point where, you know, you were about to, and then they started with I don't know, he did that thing where he like fake humped Brandy Rose and shit. Like, you know, it all becomes to a point where you're as a realistic fan where you're supposed to go, okay, I've had enough. And that just never happens.
Yeah. I mean, they've got double A Arn Anderson, you know, they've got the fucking they've got Tully Blanchard, you know, they've got two of the greatest fucking heels the business has ever seen.
Rick's coming, man.
Woo!
Oh,
I'm waiting.
1,000% he's coming.
He's jumped on that train and he's on his way.
He's got their legs up and he's fucking nuzzling. But you know, oh man, they just keep taking. They've got pure gold. They do have pure gold in certain areas, but they just keep. They're the alchemists that do it backwards, and they turn gold into fucking cow shit. I'm sorry. I wish it wasn't that way. But anyway, we were talking about something different, and again, we've gone to Jacksonville.
Keep ending up.
That means once you go to Jacksonville, you can't leave.
You can't leave. Yeah, man, it's like the village. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, as far as I go, I mean, like, unless there's anything else anyone needs to add, I think we've gone like 2.5 hours.
Yeah, we put some time in.
I mean, I'm like I say,
I can say that I did order a T-shirt. It hasn't arrived yet. I did order a beautiful red and black TW Takes podcast T-shirt.
What? I didn't see the order. When did you order?
It's probably under his pseudonym. You know what I mean? Mr. Big. You get me?
It's not under Mr. Big. Let me check.
Hold on. There's no way. If it is, I didn't get a fucking notification.
Oh, let's see. Somewhere.
When are you guys gonna make those Chat Grapple and Bits and Bobs T-shirts? That's what I need.
Well, we do have some T-shirts sort of ready to be made. Is that right, Chris? I mean,
yeah, man, they're ready there. Yeah.
But we're just
Oh, did you order from the Teespring site?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Oh, okay. I'll have to check on that. All right. Yeah. For some reason, that one's a little messed up for me to be able to view. So yeah, I have an international page as well for those across the pond. TWTakesPodcast.com/international. But I am willing to ship the stuff that I have at my house to people as well, as long as you throw in a couple shekels to help with shipping. So that's
Bro,
what
you know what?
So
I might get a Blue Meanie one. We'll talk after this, and I'll get a Blue Meanie one from you, bro.
Oh hell yeah!
I'll get a blue and black.
Hell yeah! Appreciate you guys.
When's the next show? What's next? Is it Raw?
Yeah, Raw's next, right? And look, the way I record too, just to put a nice little bow on this. I record off of inspiration. So if something is really dope and I like it, I'll go for it. SmackDown was really fun this week, and I don't really remember much of it, and it was furthering of the story. I thought the end of the night was a little odd with Finn Balor kind of being the one standing tall because there was no celebration or strength in the bloodline. So I'll probably take a little bit of that, add it in with Raw on Monday, drop something maybe Tuesday. If I feel like chatting, if I don't get really chance to, maybe Raw doesn't inspire me too much, then I'll take a couple of that, throw it in with NXT, do it all together, boom, and then try to do a SmackDown one on Friday. I'm going to try to keep up with 2 a week. I was able to hit that average of 2 episodes a week before the 1 year anniversary. So the 1 year anniversary was last Saturday. Again, JB, thank you for coming on to the 1 year anniversary watch along with SummerSlam staying way too long, as I said on the last episode. I got to put that guy to bed, man. Staying up late with me, and you guys are staying up late now too. And anytime you guys want to do this, look, I have no problem making the time for you two at any time. If I got to wake up at 10 o'clock in the morning and do this, so you guys are not yawning and looking like you're about to fall asleep, then by all means, I'll come on anytime I need to.
All right, so next time we're going to do a live watch along of AEW Dark Elevation. You will need matchsticks for your fucking eyes, but we're good. We're doing it, bro.
No. Jesus, no.
That would hurt. That's even I'm against that one, Chris.
Can't do it.
No, just play it, man. I wouldn't do that to you.
Just add, this wasn't long after I sort of found some of Bishop's work and stuff, and in lockdown, I was having to do what you would call the grocery shopping, on my own, taking longer walks to the Sainsbury's. That's a shout out to the Sainsbury's, not far from.
Big up Morrison's. What?
Yeah. And sometimes I could be gone for an hour or two, and that was my accompaniment, in my headphones. It was essentially me and Bishop walking around Sainsbury's doing the doing the shopping, it was like it was so much easier to do it with you talking to me the whole time. Like that's the only way I can describe it. It was,
I'm telling you, man, that means the world to me. Again, I mean, you got me a little bit there too. To know that, no, look, ever since I became a dad, it doesn't even matter anymore. I completely understand that my emotions aren't even mine. They don't even exist. They just happen as they happen. But no, seriously, like, again, when you guys shouted me out the first time, I had a tear roll down my eye, Ric Flair style. And by the time I realized that as wrestlers and wrestling fans, we're supposed to feel these emotions, I just let a woo out in the car, and I'm like, oh, I don't even like fucking Ric Flair, but I did it anyway. But every single time I hear anything to do with me, even when you guys don't shout me out, but I know you're thinking in your head that this take I'm about to say, terrible or not, and I'm like, yes, I got it. I know, because I can hear it, man. I'm with you guys too. You guys are with me while I'm doing my work, and you guys are chatting back and forth. I'm the third man in that conversation because I know I'm saying something, but now I know I'm in your fucking heads because you guys are, man, and hopefully we don't get a terrible take for this one. And I'm like, yep, I'm with you. I'm with you. But now I smile so much because, just like you said, when it does make things that easier when you can feel, like you're part of the conversation, and this weird fucking relationship across the pond through the internet, airwaves, whatever this world we live in today, that the matrix of simulation that we have, guys, like, this is so fucking cool. And we're just, the way I was thinking about throwing it out there, it's the title of your show, but we're two wanks and a yank, and at the end of the day, we all get the happy ending. Yes. So I appreciate you guys, man. You guys are the fucking best. Absolute supporters from the beginning. But the love you show on your show, for me, I hands down, makes me smile every single time. And when you said, Bishop, I know you're listening, I just started laughing because I knew something was fucking coming. And I knew something was coming. And it wasn't me because I wasn't excited.
Well, let's hope you did come tonight. Let's hope we didn't disappoint you. No. And, it's been fucking great, man. It's something different for us because, he's the third man, you are the third man.
I'll be your Hogan, baby.
You're our Hogan to our Hall of
less
Nash.
Racist, but
less racist, and you definitely are willing to put people over.
Hell yeah.
So we love it, man. That's been sick.
Well, yeah, that's exactly it. You are the first non-wrestler guest. You're the man. You're the guy. Like I said before, best of the best in wrestling reviews.
Thank you.
And it's not something we would make up. We clearly listen to your show. Every time you put something out, we're there with, whether it's on a train, on my train to work, or Chris is randomly on a train home, or even if I'm walking through the Sainsbury's trying to get my food shopping done and I'm laughing because you said something funny, like it's just how we are. And I can't thank you enough for coming on. I know Chris is the same.
All day long,
anytime.
baby.
Anytime.
All day long, twice on Sundays.
No, today is Sunday. We already did one. It's 2.5 hours. No, this was great, man. This was great. You guys know I love you guys and appreciate the support. If I can just lend any parting words, at TW Takes Podcast on all social media.
He loves them
TW
cheap
Takes
pops.
Podcast.
He loves them cheap pops.
We got to. Dude, you're 36th in the UK. I max at 150. I need the rub, brother. I need the rub.
We'll give you the rub. It's cool, baby.
I need the rub. No butter.
Pops.
No butter on this parsnip, baby. Let's go. Let's rub it away. TWTakesPodcast.com is where you find all the audio platforms. They're on the front page, but also all the social media links are there as well. There's TWTakesPodcast.com/TWTs, where I have merch at the house that I can ship right to you. And then TWTakesPodcast.com/international for the Teespring site, where it has European fulfillment on there. So shipping prices and merch prices are lower. I try to keep my prices as low as possible. For instance, if you live within the standard shipping range of me in the US, I have a $40 anniversary pack. Okay. It comes with 5 t-shirts, 4 coasters, 5 t-shirts, 5 pins, 4 coasters, and 3 stickers. $40. Okay. Cost me $7 to ship it. to the close area. All right. I make no money on it. I lose, but it basically helps me break even. Costs you $8 a t-shirt. I throw in all the other shit basically for free. Well, we're getting t-shirts for $8. And look at this shit. Look at this. Come on,
That's
baby.
the Blue Meanie one,
Come
baby.
on.
That's the one
Come
I'm
on.
going to be getting.
BWO.
Terrible
Trust
Wrestling
me.
Takes, baby. TWT. Get your TWTs at twtpakespodcast.com/TWTs. No, I mean, thank you guys for having me on so much. Terrible Wrestling Takes podcast. I'm Bishop. And either my terrible wrestling takes are your terrible wrestling takes, or you have terrible wrestling takes, and I'll let you know about it. Thank you guys for having me.
Boom.
Fantastic.
What a pro. Sick.
Bishop, listen, thank you so much for coming on. Everyone else, if you're still listening and still awake, or just, smashing one off listening to our beautiful, soulful voices, I'm JB, the best Chris in all the wrestling podcasts with
You
the
fucking
man
know it.
Bishop as well.
That's
Thank
right.
you so
Everyone
much for
in.
sticking around.
That's right.
So really
Everyone.
quickly before we go, shout out to Just in Time 211. I know we don't shout him out enough. He is one of the. I know he's with you a lot, Bishop. Like you do.
Yeah, he's my Twitter co-host. I will never not give people credit for what they add to my show. And then when I do the Twitter Spaces, he literally is the co-host of the show. I allow him on mic all the time, and I say allow, but look, I say it in my plugging part of my podcast, Terrible Wrestling Takes, found on all platforms. Subscribe for me like you do any idiot with a microphone and a laptop, because that's what we are. We are idiots with laptops and microphones. Justin doesn't post his stuff, but he's an idiot with a laptop and a microphone, and he's a fucking wrestling encyclopedia and a fantastic supporter of so many. So. Again, sorry to hijack, but yeah, that's the Twitter co-host right there. Just in Time 211 is fantastic. It's a great guy.
All good, man. Fucking great. And like I say, all the British fans, anyone who's listening to this is one Bishop you cannot bash, and you should definitely listening to him. Terrible Wrestling Takes. You catch him on Anchor, all of his bits and bobs that he is on. I'm JB. He's probably going to be on again, isn't he? Do you know what I mean?
Oh man, live. If he doesn't come on again, we've clearly fucked up.
We fucked up. We've AEW'd it. You know what I mean? If he don't come on again, we've blown the pop. But we will get him. I mean, watch-alongs would be fucking great, really. I mean, sometimes they're not easy to do, but
maybe a Saudi show. Yeah.
Fucking
that could be both rough and funny at the same time.
Hey, they're on at noon for me. You know what I mean? So
yes.
That's kind of the only thing we could do, but I don't know.
We'll work it out, man. We'll get there.
Maybe a watch along of a previous pay-per-view.
Oh shit, son.
Let's get him to watch UK Rampage 91 and see how the fuck he's doing. But
sick.
Let's end it on that really happy note. Thank you so much for sticking around. Thank you so much for listening. It's JB, it's Chris Dredd, it's Bishop, right here on Chat Grapple and Cheap Pops.